Chapter 116. Should I continue to rely on the Zhong family? Song Fei originally thought that Ningyu wanted him to leave the Zhong family. After hearing Ningyu's words, he was slightly stunned. However, he quickly patted his chest and said, "Young Master Ning, don't worry. I will definitely infiltrate the Zhong family and obtain information for you. Let me remind you one last time. Don't even think about removing the soul force I left in your knowledge sea. The consequences are not something you can bear." After glancing at Song Fei, Ningyu rose from the ground and disappeared in a flash. Song Fei clenched his fists tightly as he stared at Ningyu's disappearing figure. A vicious look appeared on his face. "Ningyu, I will pretend to be courteous to you for the time being. Once I remove the soul force from my knowledge sea, I will show you." Song Fei was not stupid. He knew that it was not wise to fall out with Ningyu now. Regardless of strength or the strength of soul force, Ningyu was much stronger than him. If he wanted to completely kill Ningyu, he still had to rely on the Zhong family. Thinking of this, Song Fei pushed off the ground with the tips of his toes and sprinted toward mysterious Qianxian City. Ningyu did not stop along the way. Instead, he rushed toward mysterious Qianxian City without stopping. Not long after, he entered mysterious Qianxian City. Could it be that the other three families have retreated? Seeing the unusually quiet mysterious Qianxian City, Ningyu frowned slightly in doubt. This was because the current mysterious Qianxian City was frighteningly quiet. Not a single person could be seen on the streets. After hesitating for a moment, Ningyu sped up again and returned to the Ning family. The current Ning family was still in a state after a great battle. The walls were in ruins and there was no time to repair them. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Just as Ningyu landed in front of the Ning family, a few figures rushed out from the Ning family. "Ningyu, it's good that you're fine, it's good that you're fine." Ning Tang was very excited to see Ningyu. When Ningyu escaped, he wanted to help Ningyu, but Lin Zhen attacked the Ning family crazily, so he had to stay behind to deal with the emergency. He had thought that Ningyu would definitely meet with misfortune. Who would have thought that Ningyu would return safely? How could he not be happy? "First Elder, these people are?" Ningyu's gaze shifted and paused on the few figures beside Ning Tang for a moment before he asked. "Ningyu, let me introduce you. This is President Zhu of the Alchemy Union." Ning Tang pointed at an old man wearing an alchemist's robe. "These people are from the Drunken Cloud Brothel." Ning Tang continued, "The ones beside them are from the Snow Domain Pavilion. Please come in." Ningyu cupped his hands at the crowd and said, "This is not the place to talk." In the meeting hall, everyone sat on two sides. Through Ning Tang's brief introduction, Ningyu learned that after he left, it was thanks to President Zhu, the Drunken Cloud Brothel, and the Snow Domain Pavilion that the other three families retreated. Otherwise, the remaining forces of the Ning family would not have been able to withstand the attack of the other three families. "Ningyu thanks everyone here. If there's anything you need from me in the future, please don't hesitate to ask. As long as it's within my power, I will definitely not decline," Ningyu said in a low voice. This was a huge favor. If it wasn't for everyone's help, the Ning family would have been long gone. There's no need to say unnecessary words. "This time, I helped the Ning family because of Elder Mo." Ju Tong said. "Elder Mo and I have a deep friendship. Since he asked me to help the Ning family, how could I not help? If you really want to thank him, you can go to the capital and thank Elder Mo." President Zhu, "No matter what, it's all thanks to your help this time." Ningyu was not someone who didn't know how to repay kindness. He said in a low voice, "I'll remember this favor." "Fine. Since that's the case, I really do have something I need your help with." After thinking for a while, Ju Tong said, "After some time, the Alchemy Union will hold an alchemy conference in the capital. At that time, every branch will send out alchemists to participate. I hope you can represent Qianxian City's Alchemy Union to participate." "President Zhu, don't worry. After solving the crisis of the Ning family, I will go with you to the capital," Ningyu said. "Good, good." Ju Tong's face lit up when he got Ningyu's confirmation. Ningyu's talent in alchemy was extremely high. As long as he represented Qianxian City's Alchemy Union, he might be able to get a very good ranking. "Ningyu, We are following the orders of Missy. Helping the Ning family this time was entirely her idea. A late-stage Xiantian realm warrior from Drunken Cloud Brothel said. We are also following orders, a warrior from Snow Domain Pavilion said. Xiao Yun Lan. Lu Wei. Ning Yu said calmly, after solving the crisis of the Ning family, I promise to give each of you a high-grade soul solidifying pill. High-grade soul solidifying pill. Hearing Ning Yu's words, everyone's faces lit up. Most of them were Xiantian realm warriors. Once they got their hands on a high-grade soul solidifying pill, they would have a great chance of advancing further. Alright, everyone, go and rest for a while. I plan to launch an all-out attack on the Lin family tonight. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said coldly. Ningyu, isn't it a little rash to launch an attack on the Lin family at this time? Should we wait for the patriarch to return? Ning Tang said worriedly. After a series of battles, the Ning family had suffered heavy losses. On paper, they were no match for the Lin family. If they were to clash with the Lin family at this critical juncture, the consequences would be unimaginable. Hit the snake where it hurts. Right now, the Lin family is at its weakest. Their morale is at its lowest. We can take advantage of this opportunity to launch a sneak attack. I believe they would not expect it. Ningyu analyzed, as long as we let them rest for a while, it will be very difficult to catch them all in one fell swoop. Yes, Ningyu is right. We are at your disposal, the leader of Drunken Cloud Brothel said. Us too. The middle stage Xiantian realm warrior from Snow Domain Pavilion patted his chest. Originally, the order they received was to help the Ning family with all their might. Now that Ningyu had promised to give each of them a superior grade solidifying pill, they were even more motivated. Ningyu is right. After the death of the old ancestor and patriarch, the Zhao family and the Wangs will follow the lead of the Lin family. As long as we can defeat the Lin family, the Zhao family and the Wangs will collapse on their own. Ju Tong said as he saw the situation clearly. When the time comes, Ningyu will deal with Lin Zhen. As long as we can kill Lin Zhen, the rest of the small fries will not be able to cause any trouble. Ju Tong continued. Yes, leave Lin Zhen to me. Nodding his head, Ningyu said, everyone, go back and get ready. We will set off at midnight. Hearing Ningyu's words, Ju Tong and the rest took their leave and went back to prepare. After everyone left, Ning Tang said, Ningyu, didn't you go to the frozen cave for the test? Why are you back so soon? Where are the rest of the Ning family members? Actually, Ning Tang had been wondering why Ningyu would return to the Ning family, and why his strength had increased so much, killing Lin Jingtian and the rest. He did not have time to ask before, but now he finally asked the question in his heart. Waving his hand, Ningyu said, I can't explain it in a short time. I will explain it to you when I have time. Chapter 117. The old head is recuperating. At the mention of Ning He, Ning Tang looked a little gloomy and said, I'm afraid the situation is not optimistic. Ning He, who was half a step to the true martial realm, was fighting against Lin Jingtian, who was in the middle stage of the true martial realm. It was lucky that he was not killed. Take me there, Ningyu said after pondering for a while. Well, I hope you can control your emotions. With a sigh, Ning Tang got up and left the meeting hall. Creak. A secret chamber was pushed open, and Ning Tang stood in front of the door and said, Ningyu, go in and have a look. I'll arrange it. Attacking the Lin family at midnight was the most important thing. Whether the Ning family could gain a foothold in Tianxian City depended on this one move. Therefore, Ning Tang was very concerned about this matter. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu walked into the secret chamber. There was a big bed in the center of the secret chamber, and an old man was lying on it. Walking quickly to the bed, Ningyu looked gloomy as he looked at the old figure on the bed. Because he found that his breath was very weak, and he had a faint impulse to stop breathing. Hiss. Ningyu's soul force slightly probed out and entered his body to check. The more he checked, the worse Ningyu looked. In the end, he could not help but gasp. His breath was very weak, his tendons and veins were almost completely broken, and his sea of consciousness was severely damaged. If not treated in time, the consequences would be unimaginable. In a light case, he would be paralyzed, and in a serious case, he would die directly. With my current strength, it is basically impossible to cure Grandpa. Frowning slightly, Ningyu murmured, I must find a way to get a 5th-grade meridian repairing pill. Ningyu was very clear that with his current strength, he could only slightly repair his sea of consciousness. As for the broken tendons and veins, he must take a 5th-grade meridian repairing pill. Forget it. After I solve the Lin family, I will help Grandpa repair his sea of consciousness. Repairing the sea of consciousness was a very big project, and he could not be careless. A little carelessness would cause the sea of consciousness to explode. At this critical juncture, Ningyu did not dare to be careless. After taking another look at Ninghe, who was lying on the bed, Ningyu slowly withdrew from the secret chamber and went to his own room. After closing the door, Ningyu took out the black dragon sword and black dragon pouch that he obtained from Zhongjin. Soul imprint. Break for me. With a thought, Ningyu sent 2 wisps of soul force into the black dragon sword and the black dragon pouch, shattering the soul imprint left behind by Zhongjin. However, Ningyu did not leave a soul imprint on the 2 heaven-ranked magic treasures. Instead, he planned to auction them off when he reached the capital. After all, he already had the soul-breaking sword, a devouring flying sword. The black dragon sword and the black dragon pouch were not of much use to him. Not to mention, 2 heaven-rank magic treasures could be sold for at least 2 million high-grade origin crystals, and it was even to the extent that they could be auctioned off for an even higher price. Heaven-opening desolation palm. Anyway, there were still a few hours before midnight. Ningyu could make use of this time to try to practice the heaven-opening desolation palm. The heaven-opening desolation palm was a soul attack skill. It was extremely powerful, and when practiced to the extreme, it could even be used to open the sky. The heaven-opening desolation palm has a total of 8 palms. The first palm, human desolation palm. Opening the book, Ningyu secretly memorized the handprint and mental cultivation method of the first palm and began to practice. Soul force gushed out from his body and gathered on his wrist. After that, Ningyu's wrist quickly formed a handprint and instantly blasted it out. Suddenly, a human palm print swept out and bombarded the void. Kai kai. The air was shaken and scattered in all directions, bursting out with a sizzling sound. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu's face lit up. Human desolation palm was only the first palm of the heaven-opening desolation palm. It was relatively easy to practice. In just a few minutes, he had already achieved initial success. By midnight, I can definitely practice the human desolation palm to the advanced level. Without any hesitation, Ningyu once again wrapped his soul force around his wrist and began to practice the human desolation palm. At the same time, in the Lin family. In a room, Lin Zhen paced back and forth, his face extremely gloomy. He said coldly, I didn't think that the Drunken Cloud Building, the Alchemist Union, and the Snow Pavilion would all come out to protect the Ning family. When Senior Wang Ku and Senior Zhao Peng return, we will launch another attack on the Ning family. This time, no matter what, we must eradicate the Ning family from Tianqian City. Lin family head, I am worried that something unexpected will happen. Beside him, a Zhao family late-stage Xiantian warrior frowned and said, even Senior Lin was killed, I am afraid, don't boost the morale of others and belittle our own. Before the warrior finished speaking, Lin Zhen released his aura and said coldly, Ningyu, that little bastard, must have consumed a lot of energy to kill my father. I don't believe that Senior Wang Ku and Senior Zhao Peng can't kill him. Moreover, I have received news that the Zhong family has already sent a true martial realm middle stage warrior to Tianqian City. His goal is to kill Ningyu. The Zhong family's true martial realm middle stage warrior is very strong. If he makes a move, even if Ningyu has 9 lives, it will be difficult for him to escape the fate of death. Now, all of you go back and prepare. Gather all the warriors in the Xiantian realm and above. When Senior Wang Ku and Senior Zhao Peng return, immediately launch a second attack on the Ning family. Lin Zhen continued. Family head, bad news. Family head, bad news. However, Lin Zhen's words had just sounded when a voice was transmitted from outside the room. Creak. Then, a Xiantian middle stage warrior broke the door and entered. Me. If you have anything to say, Say it slowly. What a disgrace. Lin Zhen's face turned cold as he berated. Family head, someone has launched a sneak attack on the Lin family. The Xiantian middle stage warrior could not care less. He hurriedly said, the one leading them is Ningyu. Someone has launched a sneak attack on the Lin family? Who dares to launch a sneak attack? What? Who do you think is the one leading them? Frowning slightly, Lin Zhen's expression changed drastically before he could finish his sentence. Family head, the one leading them is Ningyu. He has already killed 2 of our Xiantian late-stage warriors, the Xiantian middle-stage warrior replied. Ningyu was being pursued by the Zhao family's Wangs. Why would he appear in the Lin family now? Moreover, he was the one leading the attack on the Lin family. Could it be that Wang Ku and Zhao Peng had already died in battle? Thinking of this, Lin Zhen's heart sank to the bottom. Even his voice trembled a little. Are you sure? The one leading them is really Ningyu and not someone else from the Ning family? Family head, I'm not mistaken. The one leading them is indeed Ningyu. The Xiantian middle stage warrior said anxiously. The Lin family is in a mess now. If you don't go out and take charge of the situation, the Lin family will soon be breached by the Ning family. No, I'm no match for Ningyu. I have to find that expert from the Zhong family. What a joke. Wang Ku and Zhao Peng, 2 true martial realm warriors, had been killed by Ningyu. How could a Xiantian full realm warrior like him, who had lost an arm? Therefore, Lin Zhen's first thought was to leave the Lin family as soon as possible and find that expert from the Zhong family. Only then could he kill Ningyu and ensure the safety of the Lin family. Crack. Chapter 118. The sudden change caused Lin Zhen's pupils to shrink. He could not help but take a few steps back until he reached the edge of the wall. Looking at the familiar figure that appeared at the door, Lin Zhen said in a deep voice, Ningyu, I was just about to look for you. I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to my doorstep. You've saved me a lot of effort. Oh, Lin Zhen, what business do you have with me? Shrugging his shoulders, Ningyu said indifferently, I'm standing here now. You can speak your mind. Humph. Ningyu, don't think that no one can deal with you. With a cold snort, Lin Zhen reprimanded, to tell you the truth, the capital's Zhong family has already sent someone to Qianxian City. If you don't run away quickly, you will be killed by him. The expert sent by the capital's Zhong family to kill me, is he called Zhongjin? Ningyu said calmly. Zhongjin? How do you know? Lin Zhen's heart trembled as he asked doubtfully. Hehe, if I tell you that Zhongjin has already been killed by me, how would you feel? Ningyu said with a smile. Impossible. Zhongjin is a true martial realm martial artist, how could you possibly kill him? Lin Zhen's face was filled with disbelief as he said, aren't you afraid of cutting your tongue when you talk big? Curling his lips, Ningyu said, it's up to you whether you believe me or not. However, your fate is going to be rather tragic. Overlord Fist. However, just as Ningyu's words fell, Lin Zhen rose from the ground, gathered a dense amount of origin energy on his wrist, and ruthlessly attacked Ningyu. Lin Zhen was very clear that in front of Ningyu, the chances of him escaping were extremely slim. Unless he could successfully launch a sneak attack and injure Ningyu, it was impossible for him to escape. Insignificant skill. Ningyu did not take Lin Zhen's fist to heart. Instead, he casually waved his palm and dispersed the Overlord's fist. Go. However, Lin Zhen didn't want to risk his life against Ningyu. After the attack, he stomped on the ground and rushed out of the room. At the same time, he shouted in a low voice, all warriors of the Lin family above the Xiantian stage, stop Ningyu for me. At this time, Lin Zhen couldn't care so much anymore. Escaping was the most important thing. Swish swish swish. After all, Lin Zhen was the head of the Lin family, a person with real power. His words were still very influential. As soon as he finished speaking, many Xiantian lords of the Lin family gathered in front of the door, blocking Ningyu's path. The Lin family is actually so powerful. Looking at the dozens of warriors in front of him, Ningyu's eyes narrowed. He was a little shocked. This was because the dozens of people blocking his way were all Xiantian lords. There were a total of 30 of them. Moreover, This was excluding the Xiantian lords who were fighting with the warriors of the Ning family. Conservatively speaking, the Lin family had at least 50 Xiantian lords. With so many Xiantian lords in the Lin family, it could be seen that the Zhao family and the Wangs also had many Xiantian lords. Adding up the three families, there should be 100 Xiantian lords. The Ning family only had a total of 10 Xiantian lords. The difference in strength between the two sides was huge. If not for the help of President Zhu and the rest, the Ning family would have long been razed to the ground. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu's wrists quickly formed a seal and he sent out several palm prints. Heaven-opening palm of desolation. Human desolation palm. Against the Xiantian lords, Ningyu didn't use his full strength. Instead, he used the soul attack that he had just learned, heaven-opening palm of desolation. Pust 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 pust. Although the human desolation palm was not very strong, it was a soul attack palm print. Moreover, among the 30 warriors, the strongest was only at the advanced stage of the Xiantian lord. Naturally, they couldn't withstand the impact of the human desolation palm on their souls. A series of crisp sounds rang out. Just as the 30 Xiantian lords were about to make a move, they were overwhelmed by the pain from the depths of their souls. They fell to the ground, unable to get up. Lin Zhen, you won't be able to escape today even if you have wings. After defeating the 30 Xiantian lords who were blocking his way, Ningyu instantly increased his speed. In the blink of an eye, he appeared behind Lin Zhen. Then, he sent out a punch, which brought along a gust of yuan qi, smashing towards Lin Zhen's back. Not good. Lin Zhen's complexion changed greatly when he felt the sharp wind coming from his back. He didn't have the time to think and hurriedly gathered his essence on his left hand before turning around and colliding with Ningyu's fist. Catcher. In the next moment, the sound of bones breaking, accompanied by Lin Zhen's pig-like scream, rang out in the sky above the Lin family. Ningyu, spare me. As long as you spare me, I can give you all the resources of the Lin family with both hands. On the brink of death, Lin Zhen displayed a strong desire to live. He quickly said, I can also help you get the resources of the Zhao family and the Wangs. Furthermore, I can help you rule Tianxian City. From today onwards, the Ning family will be the overlord of Tianxian City. I'm not interested in ruling Tianxian City. Hearing Lin Zhen's words, Ningyu stopped his attack and said calmly, as for the resources of the Lin family, I can get them all the same if I kill you. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether you stay or not. Ningyu, I'm still useful. I'm still useful. Lin Zhen's expression changed drastically. He said fearfully, as long as you let me go, I can tell you a secret. A secret about your father. Tell me, Ningyu said. Lin Zhen hesitated. You have to ensure my safety. Ningyu's face turned cold. You have no choice. If you don't speak, you will die. I'll tell you. 18 years ago, your father wreaked havoc in the magical beast mountain range and had a conflict with the four-eyed golden crystal beast in the Forbidden Land. Recalling the war 18 years ago, Lin Zhen still had lingering fears. However, after that war, your father's cultivation dropped to the Hutian realm. After 18 years of cultivation, he finally advanced to the advanced stage of the Xiantian realm. Looking at Ningyu, Lin Zhen continued, I'm guessing that your father has a grudge against the four-eyed golden crystal beast. That's all. Ningyu was taken aback. That's all, Lin Zhen said. If that's all, then you can die now. As he spoke, the origin energy in Ningyu's sea of consciousness surged. Like a raging wave, it swept out and pressed down on Lin Zhen. Ningyu, you're going back on your word. Lin Zhen's face revealed a look of despair as he felt the monstrous yuan qi pressure. Haha, I never said that I would spare your life. With a faint smile, Ningyu said, besides, I already know the secret you told me. It is of no use to me. Poochie. Although Lin Zhen resisted with all his might, he was already heavily injured. How could he be a match for Ningyu? Before long, he was defeated. A gust of origin energy struck his chest. The enormous impact caused Lin Zhen's body to retreat a couple of feet. Swoosh. Then, Ningyu rose from the ground, raised the Absolute Soul Sword in his hand, and suddenly stabbed out. The Absolute Soul Sword expanded continuously in Lin Zhen's eyes. Finally, It stabbed into his chest. Kai! The sound of a flying sword stabbing into flesh rang out. Lin Zhen's mouth was slightly agape, his face filled with confusion. Chapter 119. The family head is dead. Everyone, run. Yes, let's leave the Lin family. The family head has been killed. If we stay, we won't have a good ending. Leave the Lin family and Tianqian city. We are all Xiantian stage martial artists. No forces will treat us badly. Ning Yu is the demon king. He kills without batting an eyelid. If we stay, we will be killed sooner or later. Seeing Lin Zhen's death, the Lin family members who were resisting immediately retreated and gave up resisting. The Xiantian stage martial artists were the first to flee. Swoosh! Seeing the crowd of martial artists fleeing, Ning Yu's figure flashed and he floated in mid-air. He said in a clear voice, I have killed the Lin family's patriarch, Lin Jingtian, and the current family head, Lin Zhen. I hereby announce that everyone in the Lin family will surrender and be spared. Everyone, run. If you stay, you will die. Let's split up and run. Even if Ning Yu has 8 legs, he won't be able to catch up. Let's run. We will die if we stay anyway. With a cold snort, Ning Yu rose from the ground. With a flick of his wrist, he slashed out 3 times with the soul-severing sword. In the next instant, 3 rays of sword radiance flew out and headed towards the 3 Xiantian stage martial artists who were the first to escape. Puff, puff, puff. The speed of the sword radiance was extremely fast. Almost as soon as the 3 martial artists were escaping, they arrived beside them and slashed at their necks. In a split second, the heads of the 3 Xiantian stage martial artists were chopped off. They died on the spot. Whoosh! The miserable state of the 3 Xiantian stage martial artists caused the surrounding martial artists to stop in their tracks. They did not even dare to move. I will say it one last time. Those who surrender will be spared. Sweeping his gaze across the crowd of Xiantian stage martial artists, Ning Yu said in a low voice, if anyone dares to escape, all of you will die. As he spoke, Ning Yu summoned all the Yuan Qi in his body and circulated it around his body. Feeling the dense Yuan Qi on Ning Yu, the crowd of martial artists turned pale. They did not dare to resist. Good, very good. Seeing that no one was running away, Ning Yu nodded his head and said calmly, all the Xiantian martial artists who have pledged their allegiance to the Ning family, I will not let you suffer a loss. Each of you will receive a soul-solidifying pill. Huala. When the many cultivators, who were originally feeling dispirited, heard Ning Yu's words, they immediately perked up, revealing expressions of pleasant surprise. There wasn't a single Xiantian realm martial artist who didn't know about the soul-condensing pill. After all, the soul-condensing pill had a very high probability of allowing a Xiantian realm martial artist to advance a level. Don't celebrate too early. Before tomorrow morning, capture the Zhao family and the Wangs. Ning Yu poured a bucket of cold water on them and continued, similarly, those who surrender will not be killed, but the rest will be executed on the spot. After completing this mission, report to the Ning family. Great Elder, I've killed the patriarchs and patriarchs of the 3 clans. Now, they are a group of dragons without a leader. You should take this opportunity to subdue them. Descending from the sky, Ning Yu said to Ning Tang, those who resist, there is no need to keep them alive. Kill them. After thinking for a while, Ning Yu turned to Zhu Tong and said, President Zhu, your strength is half a step into the true martial realm. I hope that you and the Great Elder can make a trip to the Zhao family and the Wangs. Slightly stunned, Zhu Tong asked doubtfully, what are you going to do? Ning Yu said, I have something to do and will be away for a few days. During this time, I hope that you can take care of the Ning family. Ian, don't worry. As long as there are no martial artists above the true martial realm, I can still protect the Ning family. Zhu Tong said. If that's the case, thank you. After bowing to Zhu Tong, Ning Yu's figure flashed and he left the place. After Ning Yu left, Zhu Tong was stunned for a moment. Facing the dozens of Xiantian realm martial artists in the sky, he said, since you have agreed to serve the Ning family, don't play any tricks. Even if Ning Yu is willing to forgive you, I, Zhu Tong, will not let you off. Next, All of you will listen to Ning Tang's orders. Our next target, the Zhao family. Although Zhu Tong's words were not as effective as Ning Yu's, it was still a strong deterrent. After all, Zhu Tong was the president of the Alchemy Union, a third-grade alchemist, and a half-step into the true martial realm. If they offended Zhu Tong, they could forget about buying elixirs in Tianxian City in the future. When Ning Tang and the rest turned to attack the Zhao family, Ning Yu had already quietly left Tianxian City and flew towards the east. This time, Ning Yu's destination was very clear, and that was Bright King City. If he wanted to cure Ning He would need a grade 5 meridian repairing pill. Otherwise, it would be impossible to reconnect all the broken meridians in Ning He's body. In Tianxian City, forget about grade 5 elixirs, even a peak grade 4 elixir was hard to buy. Without a grade 5 meridian repairing pill, Ning Yu could only leave Tianxian City and rush towards Bright King City. Bright King City was located in the east of Tianxian City. It was much bigger than Tianxian City and was also the largest city around Tianxian City. In Bright King City, as long as you had crystals, you could even buy grade 6 elixirs. Ning Yu pushed his speed to the limit. He did not dare to linger on the road as he sprinted towards Bright King City. This was because Ning He's body could not drag on for much longer. Although Ning Yu rushed at full speed, he still arrived at Bright King City the next morning. Suppressing his aura to the peak of the Hutian realm, Ning Yu walked towards the city gates. Entrance fee, half a piece of low-grade crystal. Just as Ning Yu arrived at the city gates, a berating voice entered his ears. Hearing this, Ning Yu was stunned and somewhat puzzled. Entering Bright King City requires half a piece of low-grade crystal. The others did not pay, so why did they all enter? Ning Yu realized that when the city gates were wide open, the other martial artists did not pay any entrance fee. Why did he have to pay? It's fine if you don't want to pay, but you must wait until night before you can enter. An initial stage Xiantian martial artist stood in front of Ning Yu and said indifferently, "I don't have any low-grade crystals." Ning Yu said. However, before Ning Yu finished speaking, the initial stage Xiantian martial artist said impatiently, "If you don't have crystals, scram to the side. Enter Bright King City at night." "I'm not done yet." With a flick of his wrist, a high-grade crystal instantly appeared in his hand. Ning Yu said, "I don't have any low-grade crystals. I only have high-grade crystals." Swoosh. Seeing the high-grade crystal in Ning Yu's hand, the initial stage Xiantian martial artist's face lit up and he said greedily, "Give me the high-grade crystal, and you can enter Bright King City." I seem to have heard someone say that entering Bright King City only requires half a piece of low-grade crystal. Frowning slightly, Ning Yu used a little force and broke off a fingernail-sized piece of high-grade crystal. He handed it to the initial stage Xiantian martial artist and said, "This should be enough for me to enter Bright King City, right? Kid, you are a little special. You must hand over a piece of high-grade crystal to enter Bright King City." The initial stage Xiantian martial artist licked his lips and laughed sinisterly. "Look, Li Nan is extorting people again. No one is going to step in. Step in. Don't you know that Li Nan's father is Li Gang? Li Gang. Don't tell me he's one of the 4 big bullies of Bright King City." "That's right, it's him. Rumor has it that his cultivation has reached the consummate Xiantian realm, and Li Nan is his only son." Chapter 120. Ning Yu's face turned gloomy. Wasn't this clearly bullying him? What if I don't pay this high-grade origin crystal? Ning Yu asked indifferently as he waved the high-grade origin crystal in his hand. "Haha, brat, today you must pay a piece of high-grade essence crystal." With a faint smile, Li Nan said coldly, "Regardless of whether you enter Bright King City or not, you must hand over this piece of high-grade yuan crystal." Ning Yu's face darkened. He had entered the city to purchase the meridian cultivating elixir and did not want to cause trouble. Who would have thought that Li Nan would be so arrogant as to demand the crystal? It was just a crystal, it was not like he could not afford it. However, Li Nan was obviously bullying him. How could he tolerate it? "Compete. Come and get it yourself if you can." Harumphing coldly, Ning Yu flicked his wrist and placed the high-grade origin crystal into his robe. Then, he walked straight toward Bright King City. Seeing Ning Yu's actions, Li Nan was slightly taken aback. But very quickly, he reacted and dashed forward, throwing a punch at Ningyu's head. Whoosh! Wherever the fist passed, a strong gust of wind howled, carrying with it a moderate amount of yuan energy. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Ningyu. It's over, it's over. Li Nan is ruthless. Those who offend him usually suffer. That's right. Yesterday, he targeted an early-stage Xiantian realm warrior who wanted to enter the city without paying the crystal. He killed him with a single punch. That warrior was only at the peak of the acquired realm, right? Exactly. A warrior at the peak of the acquired realm couldn't even block one move from Li Nan. What? However, not long after, the crowd's jaws dropped, their faces were filled with disbelief. They realized that Ningyu was still standing in the same spot, while Li Nan's body had been flung several feet away, landing heavily at the edge of the city gates. The sudden turn of events rendered the crowd speechless. They could not believe what they had just witnessed. Ningyu was only at the peak of the Hutian realm. How could he defeat Li Nan with a single move? Could it be that Li Nan was kind enough to let Ningyu attack first? Damn it! Damn it! Li Nan angrily stood up from the ground. His face was filled with malice as he angrily said, "Brat, you dare to offend me? Do you know who my father is?" "Your father? Could it be Li Gang?" Ningyu raised his eyebrows and asked casually, "Brat, you know who my father is and you still dare to injure me. You're finished. No one in this world can save you," Li Nan said with a gloomy face. Hearing Li Nan's words, Ningyu was stunned, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. He didn't expect that Li Nan's father was really called Li Gang. However, Ningyu did not take it to heart. Instead, he said, "I don't care if your father is called Li Gang or Wang Gang. In short, I've already hit you today. What can you do to me? All right. Good. Brat, just you wait. If you have the guts, don't leave Farsighted City today." Although Li Nan was cruel and ruthless, that was under the premise that the other party was no match for him. If the other party was too strong, he would not fight head-on. Leaving behind a threat, Li Nan entered Farsighted City. "Hey, young hero, you should leave quickly. Li Nan's father is one of the 4 great tyrants of Farsighted City." "That's right. Young hero, you should leave quickly. Few cultivators who are targeted by Li Gang are able to escape from Farsighted City. The 4 great tyrants are incomparably cruel. They are the cancerous tumors of Farsighted City." After Li Nan left, the crowd hurriedly reminded Ningyu, hoping that he would leave as soon as possible. However, Ningyu had important matters to attend to in Farsighted City. Naturally, he would not leave. Cupping his fists at the crowd, Ningyu said, "I thank everyone here, but I have important matters to attend to in Farsighted City. Once I'm done, I will leave immediately." As he spoke, Ningyu walked towards Farsighted City. Looking at Ningyu's back, the surrounding cultivators let out a sigh. In their opinion, Ningyu would not be able to escape death. Actually, Ningyu was not afraid of any Li Gang or Wang Gang. He would deal with whatever came his way. Li Nan's matter could be delayed, but his grandfather Ning's injuries could not be delayed for even a moment. Therefore, after entering Farsighted City, Ningyu asked around for the biggest elixir store and rushed there without stopping. After passing through a few bustling streets, Ningyu finally stopped in front of a 3-story building. Royal Elixir Building. Royal Elixir Building was the biggest elixir store in Farsighted City. It was said that as long as one had crystals, they could even get a 7th-grade elixir. However, 7th-grade elixir could be sold for a sky-high price. Up until now, no one had heard of anyone being able to buy a 7th-grade elixir from Royal Elixir Building. "Dear customer, may I know what grade of elixir you require?" As soon as Ningyu entered Royal Elixir Building, a manservant came up to him and asked with a smile, "Our Royal Elixir Building has a wide variety of elixirs. I believe you will definitely be able to purchase the elixir you need here. Is there anything I need to pay attention to?" Ningyu asked without batting an eyelid. "Dear customer, of course there is. If you need 1st and 2nd grade elixirs, you can buy them on the 1st floor. The manservant explained, if you need 3rd and 4th grade elixirs, you will have to enter the 2nd floor. If you need elixirs of 4th grade and above, you must enter the 3rd floor. Oh, I understand. Nodding his head, Ningyu stretched out 5 fingers and walked towards the 3rd floor. I need 5th grade elixirs. Dear customer, if you wish to enter the 3rd floor, you must have 50,000 high-grade crystals. The manservant hurriedly said. Hearing this, Ningyu was startled at first, then he understood and slightly opened the storage ring to the manservant. 5th grade elixirs, the cheapest one would cost tens of thousands of high-grade crystals. In order to ensure that everyone who entered the 3rd floor had the ability to purchase elixirs, it was understandable that Royal Elixir Building did this. Dear customer, please enter the 3rd floor. I will go find Elder Hu. Seeing the high-grade crystals flash by, the manservant hurriedly said. Shrugging his shoulders, Ningyu walked towards the 3rd floor. Who is that? He can actually enter the 3rd floor. The conditions to enter the 3rd floor are extremely strict. You must carry at least 50,000 high-grade crystals with you. Could it be that the young man has 50,000 high-grade crystals? It's hard to say. Maybe he is the young master of some powerful force. Let's not talk about it here, in case we offend him. Yes, let's hurry up and buy the Guyuan pill, then go back and cultivate. Actually, Ningyu only showed the 100,000 high-grade crystals to the manservant, he didn't reveal all of them. He understood the principle of not showing off one's wealth. If it wasn't for the 3rd floor's restriction, he definitely wouldn't have exposed himself. Hey, dear customer, I heard that you want to buy 5th grade elixirs. As soon as Ningyu stepped into the 3rd floor, an old man walked over with a smile. I wonder what kind of 5th grade elixirs you want to buy. Looking at the slightly empty 3rd floor, Ningyu calmly said, Do you have elixirs to repair tendons and arteries? Chapter 121. Nodding, Ningyu said, That's right, I do need the meridian repairing pill. You've come to the right place. Elder Hu said, in Bright King City, if Dan King Tower doesn't have meridian repairing pellet, then other places definitely don't have it. Are there any high-grade meridian repairing pills? Ningyu asked. Upper meridian repairing pill? Elder Hu was startled, then looked at Ningyu, slightly shocked. Dan King Tower does have high-grade meridian cultivating pellets, but they are extremely expensive. 200,000 high-grade essence crystals. Elder Hu stretched out 2 fingers and said, As long as you have 200,000 high-grade origin crystals, I can transfer a high-grade meridian cultivation pill over within 2 days. 2 days. In other words, there are no more meridian repairing pills in the Pill King Tower? Frowning, Ningyu was a little disappointed. His injury was very serious and he urgently needed the meridian repairing elixir. 2 days was neither long nor short. He had thought that he would be able to obtain the meridian repairing pill as soon as possible in Bright King City, but who would have thought that he would have to wait another 2 days? Perhaps it was because he saw the disappointment on Ningyu's face, old man who hesitated for a moment and said, If you urgently need the meridian cultivation pill, I can help you purchase it from the black market, but you have to pay an extra 50,000 high-grade origin crystals. How long will it take? Ningyu had plenty of high-grade essence crystals. To him, as long as he could buy a high-grade meridian cultivating pill, spending any amount of high-grade essence crystals was worth it. 6 hours. 6 hours at most. I can help you buy a high-grade meridian cultivation pill from the black market. Elder Hu said, It's even to the extent that I can help you get an extreme-grade meridian cultivation pill. As a deacon of the Pill King Tower, Elder Hu had dealt with people from the black market many times over the years. It wasn't too difficult to purchase a high-grade meridian repairing pill from the black market through his connections. After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said in a deep voice, How about this? I'll go to the black market with you. No matter what the final transaction price is, I won't let you suffer a loss. This was Bright King City, not Tianqian City. Most people would be at a disadvantage if they went to the black market without a referral. It would be better to have an acquaintance to recommend him. Alright, it just so happens that I'm free, so I'll accompany you. Mr. Hu had already regarded Ningyu as the son of a big family. Such a person was not stingy with money. Almost all businessmen liked to do business with this kind of person. Without staying for too long, Ning Yu and Elder Hu left Dan King Tower together. Look, isn't that Ning Yu? Not far away, a cultivator pointed at Ning Yu. It should be Ning Yu. He looks exactly like the one in the portrait. The martial artist next to him opened a scroll and compared it with the two, then said with certainty, "We will immediately inform young Master Nan, tell him that Ning Yu has left King Dan House. How about this, I will continue to follow Ning Yu, you go inform young Master Nan." Another martial artist frowned. "All right, I'll take my leave first. Tell young Master Nan that Ning Yu is with Dan King Tower's Elder Hu." Understood. Elder Hu led Ning Yu around Ming King City, turning left and right, and finally stopped in front of a dilapidated door. Creak. Looking around, Elder Hu pushed open the door and walked in. Without hesitation, Ning Yu followed closely behind. 10 pieces of upper-grade yuan crystals each. Just as they entered the door, a tall and sturdy man greeted them and said expressionlessly, "Peak of Xiantian late stage." Feeling the vigorous yuan qi fluctuation of the sturdy man, Ning Yu was secretly shocked, thinking that Ming King City was indeed not simple. He had been to the black market in Tianqian City, but the guards there were only early-stage Xiantian, while the sturdy man in front of him was a late-stage Xiantian, or even close to Xiantian full realm. Ning Yu knew that he needed to pay yuan crystals to enter the black market. Shaking his wrist, 20 pieces of upper-grade yuan crystals appeared in his hand, and he handed them to the sturdy man. Coming to the black market with Elder Hu, Ning Yu would definitely not let him pay yuan crystals. After paying the yuan crystals, Ning Yu and Elder Hu walked inside together. Elder Hu was obviously more familiar with this place, as he led Ning Yu through several rooms, and finally stopped in a slightly spacious room. Entering the room, Ning Yu found more than a dozen martial artists, whose cultivation ranged from early-stage Xiantian to full realm, and there was even a early-stage true martial realm martial artist. These martial artists had indifferent expressions, and seeing Ning Yu and Elder Hu come in, they did not even bat an eyelid. Ning Yu was too lazy to pay attention to them, and found an empty chair to sit down, and directly closed his eyes to rest. Ha ha ha. About a quarter of an hour later, a middle-aged man strode into the room, and before he arrived, his voice could be heard. "I won't say much nonsense, everyone knows the rules." The middle-aged man sat upright, and with a wave of his hand, he said, "Let's begin." Middle stage true martial realm. Seeing the middle-aged man, Ning Yu's eyes narrowed, and he was secretly shocked. Unexpectedly, the person in charge of the black market trade fair turned out to be a middle-stage true martial realm cultivator. A small trade fair like this was actually very simple. Everyone took out their own treasures, and others could use yuan crystals or barter. In his previous life, Ning Yu had also participated in many trade fairs, but they were all high-level trade fairs, and the lowest treasure was a peak 7th grade elixir. At this level of trade fair, to be able to take out a 6th grade elixir was already the limit. Earth spiritual root, exchange for yellow grass skin, or 5,000 high-grade yuan crystals. A square-faced early-stage Xiantian martial artist flicked his wrist, and suddenly, something similar to a tree root appeared in his hand. Although the earth spiritual root is extremely precious, 5,000 high-grade yuan crystals is somewhat not worth it. Glancing at the earth spiritual root, Ning Yu thought, 5,000 high-grade yuan crystals is too expensive. At this moment, a middle-stage Xiantian martial artist said in a deep voice, 3,000 high-grade yuan crystals, I'll buy it. After a slight hesitation, the square-faced martial artist said, deal. Immediately, the middle-stage Xiantian martial artist took out a storage bag and threw it to the square-faced man. After checking the storage bag, the square-faced man nodded and immediately handed the earth spiritual root to the middle-stage Xiantian martial artist. Subsequently, the other martial artists took out their treasures one after another, either bartering or exchanging yuan crystals. As for Elder Hu, he had been resting with his eyes closed, doing nothing. An hour later, seeing that the trade was about to end, Ning Yu finally could not help but nudge Elder Hu and whispered, Elder Hu, the meridian repairing pill. Just as Ning Yu was about to speak, Elder Hu waved his hand and said, wait a little longer, there's no hurry. Hearing this, Ning Yu had no choice but to take a deep breath and wait quietly. Another hour passed, and there were only a few martial artists left in the room. 2 peaks Yantian martial artists, 1 true martial realm. Glancing at the remaining martial artists, Ningyu thought to himself. Since the start of the trade fair, the 3 of them had been resting with their eyes closed, and did not participate in the trade. When the crowd was almost gone, one of the middle-stage Yantian martial artists said, "Wu Dao, you know why we are here, take out the meridian repairing pill." "Haha, don't worry, I have the meridian repairing pill with me." With a slight smile, Wu Dao took out a jade box and said, "There are 2 meridian repairing pills in this box, 1 high grade and 1 supreme grade." Chapter 122. Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan. Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't help but clench his fists. He secretly made up his mind that no matter what, he must get the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan, because, with the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan, he had an 80% chance of curing his grandfather. Upper Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan, I bid 200,000 upper grade yuan crystals. Before the true martial realm martial artist could speak, a Yantian peak martial artist next to him said first. 210,000. Another Yantian peak martial artist said. 220,000. The first Yantian peak martial artist didn't want to give up and continued to raise the price. 250,000. At this moment, Ningyu said, 250,000 upper grade yuan crystals. Although Ningyu wanted the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan, he didn't want to give up on it. After all, Wu Dao said that the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Dan needed to be bartered. Heh! Upon hearing Ningyu's words, not only did the 2 Yantian consummate realm warriors cast their gazes at him, but even Wu Dao also shifted his gaze to him. A young man who could bid 250,000 upper-grade yuan crystals without frowning was either a young master of a big family or a genius of a big sect. Looking at Elder Hu, Wu Dao suddenly had a feeling of enlightenment. Elder Hu was a deacon of Dan King Tower, and Ningyu entered the black market with him. From this, it could be seen that Ningyu was most likely a young master of Dan King Tower. Although he guessed that Ningyu's status might be very high, Wu Dao still took a glance and withdrew his eyes. After all, Ningyu was only at the peak of the Hutian realm. Asking him to lower his status and curry favor with Ningyu, he couldn't do it. Damn it! One of the Yantian peak martial artists cursed, fiercely stared at Ningyu, and said in a deep voice, 260,000 upper-grade yuan crystals. 270,000. Ningyu continued. 280,000. Now, one of the 2 Yantian peak martial artists had chosen to give up, leaving only one to compete with Ningyu. After all, a high-grade meridian cultivating pill would only cost 200,000 high-grade origin crystals at the Pill King Tower. Although the superior grade meridian cultivation pill that Wu Dao took out was of high quality, 250,000 superior grade essence crystals was already the limit. Any higher and it would not be worth it. 300,000 high-grade essence crystals. Suddenly, the true martial realm early-stage martial artist coldly said, "This high-grade meridian cultivating Dan, I, Gao Sure, will buy it." Hearing Gao Shure's words, Ningyu's expression turned ugly. The black market trade fair was equivalent to a small auction, and the highest bidder would win. Now, Gao Shure actually dared to be so arrogant just because he had a profound cultivation base. However, Ningyu did not speak immediately. Instead, he looked at Wu Dao with a questioning expression. With a bitter smile, Wu Dao felt a little helpless. Originally, according to this competitive trend, the high-grade meridian cultivating pill would very likely be sold for 400,000 high-grade origin crystals. Now, after Gao Shure's disturbance, the price stopped at 300,000 high-grade origin crystals. However, 300,000 high-grade essence crystals were already far higher than the price in Wu Dao's heart. He also did not want to offend Gao Shure. This was because Gao Shure was ranked 3rd among the 4 great tyrants of Bright Ruler City. Each of the 4 great tyrants was more vicious than the last. Offending any one of them was equivalent to offending the other 3. Even though Wu Dao was in the middle stage of the true martial realm, he still did not want to offend the 4 great tyrants. According to the rumors, The first of the four great tyrants had already reached the peak of the middle stage of the true martial realm, and was infinitely close to the late stage of the true martial realm. Seeing that Wu Dao did not respond, Ningyu said in a deep voice, 310,000 high-grade origin crystals. Swoosh. In the next moment, Gao Shi's expression turned cold. His eyes stared at Ningyu and said in an extremely gloomy tone, "Brat, didn't you hear what I said? I'll buy this high-grade meridian cultivating Dan." Glancing at Gao Shi, Ningyu said without batting an eyelid, "The highest bidder wins. As long as your price is higher than mine, I will give up the competition." "Good, very good. How many years has it been since someone dared to talk to me like this?" With the corner of his mouth raised, Gao Shi said in a cold voice, "I can tell you very clearly that the last person who dared to talk to me like this had his head twisted off. That's none of my business." Shrugging, Ningyu said, 310,000 high-grade origin crystals. If you don't continue to increase the price, this high-grade meridian cultivating Dan is mine. You're courting death. With a cold expression, Gao Shi's figure flashed and appeared in front of Ningyu in an instant. Then, his fist carried a violent origin chi gale and ruthlessly smashed towards Ningyu's chest. Gao Shi's punch was heavy and powerful. If Ningyu was unlucky enough to be hit, he would at least end up with serious injuries. "Gao Shi, this is the black market. It's not a place for you to behave atrociously." With a cold shout, Wu Dao rose from the ground, intending to block the punch for Ningyu. After all, he believed that Ningyu's identity was special. He could not afford to have any problems in the black market. What? However, in the next moment, Wu Dao abruptly stopped in his tracks and looked at everything in front of him with a face full of disbelief. Gao Shi's fist abruptly stopped 30 centimeters in front of Ningyu's chest. It could not move forward at all. The sudden change caused the two Xiantian full-cycle martial artists and elder Hu to open their mouths slightly, almost standing on the spot in a daze. One must know that Gao Shi was a martial artist in the early stage of the true martial realm. His strength was extremely powerful, but now his fist actually stopped in front of Ningyu. What the hell was going on in this world? "Little bastard, what kind of sorcery did you use?" Staring at Ningyu with a vicious face, Gao Shi ruthlessly said. "Your mouth is really cheap. It seems that I have to teach you a lesson." With a touch of coldness in his eyes, Ningyu moved in an instant and repeatedly punched Gao Shi's face. Pa pa pa. After a series of crisp sounds, Gao Shi covered his slightly swollen cheek and said, "How dare you hit me?" Releasing a little of the yuan in his sea of consciousness, Ningyu said indifferently, "So what if I hit you? Is your father also called Li Gang?" "My father's name is not Li Gang, it's... You know my fourth brother?" Just as Gao Shi was about to speak, he was stunned and asked in disbelief. "I don't know your fourth brother." Shaking his head, Ningyu did not want to waste time here. He said in a deep voice, 310,000 upper-grade yuan crystals. If you don't continue to increase the price, then this upper-grade meridian cultivation pill is mine. Alright, Gao Shi, this is the black market, not a place for you to cause trouble. At this time, Wu Dao became the peacemaker and said, "If you have any personal grudges, you can settle them after we leave the black market." Humph. With a cold snort, Gao Shi gloomily said to Ningyu, "Brat, I'll let you live for a while longer. After we leave the black market, I'll deal with you." Regarding Gao Shi's threat, Ningyu did not take it to heart. Instead, with a shake of his wrist, a storage bag filled with 310,000 upper-grade yuan crystals was thrown at Wu Dao. After checking the yuan crystals in the storage bag, Wu Dao handed the upper-grade meridian cultivation pill to Ningyu. Chapter 123. Wu Dao, are you sure you only want a mid-earth rank magic treasure? Gao Shi's eyes brightened when he heard Wu Dao's words. A mid-earth rank magic treasure was worth around 200,000 to 300,000 upper-grade yuan crystals in the market. A peak meridian cultivation pill could be sold for at least 400,000 upper-grade yuan crystals. Who would be foolish enough to trade a peak meridian cultivation pill for a mid-earth rank magic treasure? Of course, I only want a mid-earth rank magic treasure. Nodding, Wu Dao said, Whoever can take out a mid-earth rank magic treasure that satisfies my friend will get the last peak meridian cultivation pill. With a flick of Gaosha's wrist, a black flying sword appeared in his hand. He passed it to Wu Dao and said, "This is the mid-earth rank black cloud sword. Show it to your friend, I believe he will be satisfied." Good sword. Receiving the black cloud sword, Wu Dao could not help but say, "It is indeed a good sword. If I am not wrong, the quality of this flying sword is infinitely close to an upper earth rank." Hihi, of course. Gaosha raised his head and looked at Ningyu with slight disdain. "It's just an ordinary earth rank flying sword." Ningyu could not be bothered to waste words with Gaosha and took out his trident. The trident was a mid-earth rank magic treasure. Its quality was also very high, almost reaching the upper earth rank. Even compared to the black cloud sword, it was not much weaker. "What kind of scrap metal is this? You have the nerve to take it out to embarrass yourself." The corners of Gaosha's mouth curled up as he said in a strange tone, "I have as many earth rank flying swords as I want. I can even take out a sky rank flying sword. A sky rank flying sword would cost at least 1,000,000 upper grade yuan crystals. Someone is really rich." Handing the trident to Wu Dao, Ningyu shrugged and said, "Looks like someone was going easy on me when we were fighting for the high-grade meridian cultivation pill. Thank you very much." You. Clenching his fists tightly, Gaosha's expression was extremely cold. However, thinking of Ningyu's strength, he took a deep breath and said coldly, "I'll let you be cocky for a while. When we leave the black market, I'll teach you a lesson. I'll be waiting." Sitting on the chair, Ningyu chose to close his eyes and rest. When the other two perfection stage congenital realm martial artists saw Ningyu and Gaosha take out mid-grade earthrank magic treasures, they pondered for a moment before choosing to give up. Actually, they were extremely helpless as well. It wasn't that they didn't have mid-grade earthrank magic treasures, but each of them only brought a single mid-grade earthrank magic treasure. Moreover, it was a magic treasure that was extremely convenient to use. They definitely wouldn't be willing to exchange this kind of magic treasure for a top-grade meridian cultivating pill. "Please wait here for a moment, I'll be right back." Wu Dao stood up and left the room. "Young Master Ning, you've gotten into trouble this time." After Wu Dao left, Old Hu lightly touched Ningyu and said in a low voice. Although the powerful strength Ningyu displayed shocked Old Hu, he was very clear that Gaosha wasn't someone to be trifled with. After thinking for a moment, Old Hu felt that he had to remind Ningyu, there are a total of 4 big bullies in Bright King City, and Gaosha is ranked 3rd. The 4 big bullies are each more ferocious than the other. The Li Gang you mentioned earlier is ranked 4th among the 4 big bullies, and his cultivation is at the perfection stage congenital realm. Regardless of whether we can get the top-grade meridian cultivating pill or not, when we leave the black market later, come with me. I'll try my best to protect you." Old Hu sighed and said. "What are the cultivation levels of the 2nd and 1st of the 4 big bullies?" Ningyu slightly frowned and asked. "The second one we call Old Xiu, he's at the middle stage of the true martial realm." Old Hu said, "As for the first one, it's Old Lady Ironcrutch. 3 years ago, she was at the peak of the middle stage of the true martial realm. Now, she should have advanced to the late stage of the true martial realm." Late stage of the true martial realm. Ningyu's heart trembled, and he secretly became cautious. The current him, under the situation where he used all his trump cards, was evenly matched with a martial artist at the middle stage of the true martial realm, and he could even kill them. However, when facing a martial artist at the late stage of the true martial realm, he could only run. That was because the difference between the middle stage of the true martial realm and the late stage of the true martial realm was huge. Even 10 martial artists at the middle stage of the true martial realm might not be a match for a martial artist at the late stage of the true martial realm. Looks like I have to raise my strength as soon as possible. Ningyu made up his mind. After treating Ning-He, he had to go into seclusion and strive to break through to the late stage of the Xiantian realm. Creak. Right at this moment, Wu Dao walked in. "I'm sorry, but my friend isn't too satisfied with your mid-tier earthrank artifacts." After entering, Wu Dao returned the Black Cloud sword and trident to Ningyu and the others. He shrugged and said helplessly, "I'm sorry, but you won't be able to get the top-grade meridian cultivating pill. Wu Dao, who exactly is that friend of yours? Why is he putting on such airs? Gao Shi was a little unhappy and said, even the black cloud sword can't enter his eyes. I'm not too sure about the reason. Shaking his head, Wu Dao said, President Wu, I wonder if I can meet that friend of yours. Frowning slightly, Ningyu asked, the top-grade meridian cultivating pill is very important to me. As long as you can let me meet that friend of yours, I'll leave this trident to you. This, looking at the trident in Ningyu's hand, Wu Dao was a little hesitant. The grade of the trident was very high, almost reaching the high-tier earth rank. If it was placed in an auction house, it should be able to fetch a good price. Although Wu Dao was a martial artist at the middle stage of the true martial realm, he didn't have many high-tier yuan crystals on hand. If he could obtain the trident, it would naturally be extremely good for him. I'll try my best. As for whether he agrees or not, it's not something I can control. Clenching his teeth, Wu Dao broke the silence, because that friend of mine is a 5th-grade alchemist. 5th-grade alchemist. Hearing Wu Dao's words, Gao Shi's face became a little solemn. To a 5th-grade alchemist, a mid-tier earth-rank black cloud sword was indeed not enough to enter their eyes. Every 5th-grade alchemist was a powerful figure. Even in the capital, they would be guests of great forces. Moreover, many 5th-grade alchemists were not weak. 5th-grade alchemist. Ningyu was stunned for a moment, but his heart immediately became wild with joy. If Wu Dao's friend was someone else, it would be difficult for him. But since it was an alchemist, it would naturally save him a lot of trouble. After thinking for a while, Ningyu inserted his soul force into his storage ring, took out a blank piece of paper and said, President Wu, can I trouble you to pass this to your friend? Looking at the empty piece of paper, Wu Dao was a little confused and asked, Are you sure you want to pass this to my 5th-grade alchemist friend? Ningyu's right hand formed a strange hand seal in the air and said, President Wu, make this hand seal as well. I believe that your 5th-grade alchemist friend will come out to see me. All right. Remembering the hand seal, Wu Dao once again left the room. If that 5th-grade alchemist comes out to see you, I'll write my name backward. Gao Shi coldly snorted. Chapter 124. Shrugging, Ningyu sat on a chair and closed his eyes. Seeing Ningyu ignore him, Gao Shi wished for nothing more than to rush forward and kill Ningyu. However, he knew very well that he couldn't fight Ningyu head-on at this critical juncture. No matter who won or lost, it would not benefit him. After all, this was the black market. Ningyu, do you dare to make a bet with me? Gao Shi rolled his eyes and suddenly said. Raising an eyebrow, Ningyu asked calmly, what kind of bet? What Ningyu feared the least was a bet. Ever since his rebirth, he had never lost a bet. Now that Gao Shi wanted to bet with him, how could he refuse? Simple, as long as the 5th realm alchemist does not come, I want the meridian repairing den you just bought. Gao Shi said confidently. What if the 5th realm alchemist comes? Ningyu asked. Pa. Slapping the black cloud sword on the table, Gao Shi said coldly, as long as the 5th realm alchemist comes, this black cloud sword is yours. How about it? Do you dare to bet with me? When luck comes, it cannot be stopped. Shrugging, Ningyu said calmly, since you want to give me the black cloud sword, I have no reason not to accept it. Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? Gao Shi smiled, as if the meridian repairing Dan was waving at him. Young Master Ning, 5th-tier alchemists have always been very arrogant, if you do this I'm afraid. As a deacon of Dan King House, Old who was very clear about the arrogance of 5th-tier alchemists, if there was nothing that could satisfy them, they would not personally come to meet others. Usually, it was others who humbly asked for a 5th realm alchemist. Alchemists like Ningyu were very rare. Hihi, Elder Hu, I know what I'm doing. Smiling, Ningyu said calmly. All right. Elder Hu sighed softly and said. At the same time, in another luxurious room, Wu Dao passed the paper to a white-bearded old man and said, Senior Mu Tuor, the person who took out the trident wants to see you. This is what he wants me to give you. The white-bearded old man received the white paper and flipped through it a few times before casually tossing it away. He said in a low voice, Wu Dao, didn't I tell you? I'm not satisfied with the mid-grade Earthrank magic treasures they took out, so I won't meet anyone. They can forget about obtaining the top-grade Meridian Cultivation Pill. Senior Mu Tuor, I've been rude. Please go ahead with your business. I'll take my leave. Wu Dao had already guessed this result, so he wasn't too surprised. He cupped his hands and was about to leave the room. However, as soon as he stepped out of the room, Wu Dao seemed to think of something. He turned around and said, "That's right, Senior Mu Tuor, that person made a strange hand seal. Do you want to take a look? There's no need. You can leave first." Mu Tuor waved his hand and said, "All right." After bidding farewell to Mu Tuor, Wu Dao retraced his steps. Creak. Pushing open the door, Wu Dao returned to the room where Ningyu and the others were. "I'm sorry, my fifth-tier alchemist friend is a little busy, so..." Wu Dao apologized to Ningyu after entering the room. "Ha ha ha, kid, hand over the Meridian Cultivation Pill." Hearing this, before Ningyu could speak, Jiaosha burst into laughter and said, "I've said it before. Who do you think you are? How honorable is a fifth-tier alchemist? Why would he come out to meet you? This doesn't make sense. Could it be that the soul-nourishing method I gave him is too advanced? A fifth-tier alchemist can't understand it." Frowning deeply, Ningyu found it hard to believe. Actually, on the white paper was the soul-nourishing method he had inscribed using his soul energy. It was very effective in recovering one's weak soul after concocting a pill. Ordinary alchemists would experience a period of weakness after concocting a pill. With the soul-nourishing method, the period of weakness could be greatly reduced. Logically speaking, as long as one was an alchemist, they would be very interested in this soul-nourishing method. Ningyu asked, "President Wu, I wonder if you have shown the handprint to your friend?" The handprint was the first form of the spiritual energy-gathering handprint. Even if a fifth-tier alchemist couldn't understand the soul-nourishing method, he should be able to understand the spiritual energy-gathering handprint. This. Wu Dao was a little embarrassed. After all, he hadn't even shown the handprint before he was thrown out. "I understand now." Only now did Ningyu understand. Since Wu Dao didn't show the handprint, it was obvious that the fifth-tier alchemist didn't probe the white paper with his soul energy. As for the soul-nourishing method, he naturally didn't discover it. "Kid, you have to accept your loss. Hurry up and hand over the Meridian Cultivation Pill," Jiaosha said coldly. "The Meridian Cultivation Pill is yours." With a cold snort, Ningyu raised his wrist, wanting to throw the Meridian Cultivation Pill to Jiaosha. However, before he could throw the Meridian Cultivation Pill to Jiaosha, Ningyu put down his palm and kept the Meridian Cultivation Pill. Seeing Ningyu's action, Jiaosha was furious. He said angrily, "Kid, you won't go back on your words, will you? I advise you to hand over the Meridian Cultivation Pill as soon as possible. Otherwise, even with Wu Dao's protection, I will kill you." "Ningyu, you have to accept your loss." "I can't help you," Wu Dao said. "Young Master Ning, you have lost." Shaking his head, Elder Hu said. The corner of his mouth curled up into a mysterious smile. Ningyu said, "Do you all think I have lost?" "Not necessarily." "Not necessarily? Kid, are you living in a dream?" Laughing evilly, Jiaosha said, "I will say it one last time, hand over the Meridian Cultivation Pill." Bang! Before Jiaosha could finish his sentence, the sound of a door being kicked open rang out in the room. Following that, a white-bearded elder quickly walked in. In his hand was a piece of white paper. "Wu Dao, who gave me this piece of paper?" Mu Tuor hurriedly asked after entering. Seeing Mu Tuor's anxious expression, Wu Dao was somewhat dumbfounded. Ever since he had known Mu Tuor, he had never seen him like this. "I was the one who asked President Wu to give it to you." Taking a step forward, Ningyu said without batting an eyelid. "It's you." Looking at Ningyu, Mu Tuor's eyes brightened. "Where's the second half? Quickly hand it over." Mu Tuor's tone made Ningyu a little unhappy. However, when he thought of the fatal temptation of the method of nourishing one's soul to an alchemist, he suppressed the displeasure in his heart and said, "It's not impossible if you want the second half. Give me the meridian cultivation pill in exchange. As he spoke, Ningyu's figure flashed. Before Mu Tuor could react, he had snatched the piece of paper. Moreover, a wisp of flame appeared on his finger. You. The sudden change caused Mu Tuor to turn pale with fright. He hurriedly took a step forward, intending to snatch the piece of paper back. However, he was obviously a step too late. The piece of paper had already been burnt to ashes by the dancing flame on Ningyu's fingertip. Seeing this, Mu Tuor's chest heaved unsteadily. He was extremely angry. Chapter 125. I've said it before, use a peak-grade meridian cultivation pill to exchange for the second half. Ningyu turned around and sat on a chair as he spoke calmly. Compared to the peak-grade meridian cultivation pill, Ningyu's method of nourishing the soul was much more valuable. If Ningyu announced it, many people would be willing to exchange the peak-grade meridian cultivation pill for the method of nourishing the soul. Moreover, Ningyu discovered that Mu Tuor was not an ordinary 5th-grade pill refiner. In other words, Mu Tuor's soul must have been severely injured. His current soul strength was only at the 4th-grade level. Therefore, Mu Tuor urgently needed the method of nourishing the soul. Good, very good. Mu Tuor's expression turned cold as he said in a low voice, I am a 5th-grade pill refiner. Even a primal core realm martial artist has to be respectful when they see me. How dare you speak to me like this? Kid, you're finished. Do you know the power of a 5th-grade pill refiner? Gao Shi snorted. I almost forgot if you didn't mention it. Thank you for your black cloud sword. Standing up abruptly, Ningyu's figure shot out and grasped the black cloud sword in his hand, a mid-grade earth-rank black cloud sword. Not bad. Kid. My black cloud sword. Ningyu's actions caused Gao Shi's expression to darken completely. He clenched his fists and said hatefully, if you know what's good for you, return the black cloud sword to me. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson. Shrugging, Ningyu placed the black cloud sword into his storage ring and said, I've always been a good-looking person. I don't need your help. Enough. At this moment, Mu Tuor's powerful soul pressure was unleashed as he said coldly to Ningyu, the peak-grade meridian cultivation pill is extremely valuable. Give me the complete method first, then I'll give you the peak-grade meridian cultivation pill. Hehe, do you think I'm a 3-year-old? With a faint smile, Ningyu said, you should know very well how valuable the method of nourishing the soul is. You've earned a lot by exchanging a peak-grade meridian cultivation pill for it. I won't beat around the bush with you. Hand over the supreme-grade meridian cultivating pill, and I'll write you the complete method. As soon as Ningyu's words fell, Mu Tuor's expression became extremely cold. He suddenly unleashed all of his soul power, crazily suppressing Ningyu. Whoosh! The expressions of everyone in the room changed slightly when they sensed the spiritual pressure coming from Mu Tuor. They could not help but take a few steps back. Peak rank 4. Although Mu Tuor's soul had been severely damaged, he still possessed the strength of a peak rank 4. Ningyu didn't expect Mu Tuor to be so ungrateful, actually wanting to gain something for nothing. He wasn't even willing to take out a top-grade meridian cultivating pill. With a cold snort, Ningyu grasped the absolute soul sword and pointed it forward. Who? The soul-severing sword light slashed through the air, slashing towards Mu Tuor's soul pressure. Kai. A clear voice rang out, and then Mu Tuor's eyes narrowed. He hurriedly withdrew his soul force back into his body. Kid. Who the hell are you? Taking a few steps back, Mu Tuor glared at Ningyu. Who I am isn't important. What's important is that I've changed my mind. The top-grade meridian cultivating pill can only be exchanged for the first half of the soul-nourishing method, Ningyu said indifferently. The absolute soul sword was a heaven-grade devouring flying sword. It had a fatal suppressive effect on soul force. In addition, the strength of Ningyu's soul force was also at the 4th rank, while Mu Tuor's soul force was only at the peak of the 4th rank. It was only natural that the absolute soul sword cut through Mu Tuor's spiritual pressure. Originally, Ningyu had wanted to use the entire set of soul-nourishing methods to exchange for a top-grade meridian cultivating pill. Now that he saw Mu Tuor's arrogant side, he decided to change his mind and only use half of the method to exchange for a top-grade meridian cultivating pill. All right, I'll trade with you. After a moment of silence, Mu Tuor flicked his wrist, and a top-grade meridian cultivating pill appeared in his hand. This is a top-grade meridian cultivating pill. You have to let me see the soul-nourishing method first, right? You've already seen it. Ningyu did not want to talk nonsense with Mu Tuor here. He stood up and walked out of the room. If you want to trade, give me the top-grade meridian cultivating pill. Otherwise, I can only say sorry. Here you go. Seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, Mu Tuor gritted his teeth and threw the top-grade meridian cultivating pill to Ningyu. Receiving the top-grade meridian cultivating pill, Ningyu took out a piece of white paper from his storage ring and placed it on the table. Swoosh! Seeing the white paper, Mu Tuor hurriedly took a step forward, and his soul force entered the white paper. Elder Hu, let's go. Since his goal had been achieved, there was no need for Ningyu to stay here. In the next moment, he left the black market with Elder Hu. Wu Dao. Who the hell is that kid? After Ningyu and the others left, Mu Tuor asked in a deep voice, do you know his background? Senior Mu Tuor, based on my guess, he should be the son or daughter of the top management of the Royal Pill Tower. After a moment of silence, Wu Dao said what he was thinking. The old man who left with him is a deacon of the Royal Pill Tower. The Royal Pill Tower? Hearing this, Mu Tuor was slightly taken aback. He then said, no wonder you can give me the method to nourish the soul. Senior Mu Tuor, that brat Ningyu is so arrogant that he dares to disrespect you. If there's anything I can help you with, just say it. Gao Shi's eyes rolled, and he patted his chest. Gao Shi knew that Mu Tuor must hate Ningyu very much right now, and even wanted to kill him. Since that was the case, he might as well do Mu Tuor a favor and help him. After all, to be able to help a 5th-grade alchemist, it would be of great benefit to him. Moreover, he was going to contact old Xiao to kill Ningyu anyway. To be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone was naturally a good thing. Raising his eyebrows, Mu Tuor said calmly, actually, it's nothing much. I just want to let Ningyu know the meaning of respect. I understand. The corner of Gao Shi's mouth curled up, and he smiled evilly. After bidding farewell to old Hu, Ningyu rushed out of Bright Ruler City. This time, Ningyu was very satisfied with his trip to Bright Ruler City. Initially, he thought that buying a high-grade meridian repairing pill was good enough. Who would have thought that he would get a supreme meridian repairing pill? The supreme meridian repairing pill was very effective in repairing tendons and veins. With the supreme meridian repairing pill, I believe that grandfather's tendons and veins will be completely healed. After leaving Bright Ruler City, Ningyu pushed off the ground and pushed his speed to the limit, rushing toward Tianxian City. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. However, not long after Ningyu left Bright Ruler City, a large number of cultivators appeared in front of him, blocking his way. Ha ha ha, Ningyu, you are very fast. If I had not been prepared, I'm afraid that you would have escaped. At this moment, a figure walked out from the crowd, laughing loudly. He stopped in front of Ningyu and said with a sinister smile, today, I will tear you to pieces with my own hands. Li Nan. Looking at the familiar figure in front of him, Ningyu's face darkened, and he said, I have no time to waste with you here. If you know what's good for you, get out of here. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. You want me to get out? You want to be rude to me? Chapter 126. Idiot. Glancing at Li Nan, Ningyu's figure flashed as he flew into the distance. Stop him. Seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, Li Nan shouted. Then, the surrounding cultivators all made their moves. Since you are seeking death, don't blame me. A cold voice came from Ningyu's mouth. He suddenly took a step forward, causing sand and pebbles to fly and the hard ground to crack. Ningyu waved his sleeves and an extremely violent yuan qi fluctuation shot up to the sky like thunder from the 9th heaven. Whoosh! In the next moment, the violent yuan qi suddenly exploded, turning into countless small yuan qi light balls, attacking the martial artists that were surrounding him. Kai kai kai. The surrounding martial artists were mostly at the early Xian Tian level, How could they withstand Ningyu's fierce attack? With a few swishing sounds, the martial artists surrounding Ningyu fell to the ground, their breathing weak. Overestimating yourself. With Ningyu's current strength, he did not need to use his full strength to deal with the early Xiantian level martial artists. He did not even need to use 10% of his strength to defeat them. Li Nan did not expect Ningyu to be so strong that dozens of early Xiantian level martial artists could not do anything to him. Instead, they were defeated by him in one move. With this kind of strength, perhaps only the peak Xiantian level martial artists could contend with him. Damn it! Cursing in his heart, Li Nan's eyes darkened and he said coldly, Ningyu, I admit that you are very strong. Just you wait and see. Leave. Where do you want to go? Did I say you could leave? Ningyu said lightly with his fists cupped. Stopping, Li Nan said, what do you want? After thinking for a while, Ningyu said, you can leave, but leave your things behind. Ningyu, don't go too far. Li Nan said angrily. You have two choices now. First, leave everything on you. Second. At this point, Ningyu paused for a moment before coldly saying, die. As soon as the word die left his mouth, a monstrous aura emanated from Ningyu's body and suppressed Li Nan in an instant. Thump. Feeling the pressure of such a powerful aura, Li Nan's legs felt like they were being crushed by thousands of kilograms of rocks, causing him to kneel on the ground with a thud. Clenching his teeth, Li Nan spat, it won't be that easy to get what I have on me. You're still so stubborn even though you're about to die. Fine, I'll finish you off. Ningyu took a step forward. With a flick of his wrist, an illusory fist projection appeared. Whoosh. Then, the illusory fist aura shot out and gradually expanded in Li Nan's eyes. Brat, you dare to kill my son? However, just as Li Nan was about to give up, a low roar sounded out. Then, the illusory fist aura seemed to be disturbed and actually stopped in front of Li Nan. The brief pause of the illusory fist caused Ningyu to knit his brows slightly. After that, a cold smile appeared on the corners of his mouth as he looked at the man that was charging towards him. His right hand grabbed at the air, and instantly, a powerful ball of yuan qi appeared in his hand. Then, with a flick of his finger, it shot towards the man's face. You're like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. With a cold roar, the man swung both his fists. Fist shadows flickered and countless rays of fist aura shot out, colliding with the violent yuan qi ball. Bang! When the flickering fist aura and the violent yuan qi collided, there was no shocking explosion, only a muffled sound. Bang! But very quickly, the man's body was hit by the first illusory fist aura from Ningyu. He directly retreated a few feet, and his face was deathly pale. There's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. There's no door to hell, but you barge in. After repelling Li Gang, Ningyu's face turned cold, and he once again rose from the ground. Human desolation palm. With a flick of his wrist, a human-shaped palm was formed in an instant, and with a shocking speed, it violently blasted towards Li Gang. Poochie. In the next moment, the human desolation palm bombarded Li Gang's body. The huge impact caused him to spit out a mouthful of dark red blood, and his aura became a little weak. The 8 Desolation Palm was a soul attack spell. Although the human Desolation Palm was only the first palm, it was still very powerful. Moreover, Li Gang's cultivation was only at the Xiantian full circle, so naturally, he was not a match for Ningyu. After repelling Li Gang, Ningyu did not continue to attack. Instead, his eyes slightly narrowed, and he took a few steps back. With the soul-breaking sword in hand, Ningyu stared into the distance and said in a deep voice, "Come out." Swish. Swish. As soon as Ningyu's voice fell, 2 figures dashed over from afar, and not long after, they landed in front of Ningyu. "Second brother, third brother, you're here?" Seeing the sudden appearance of the 2 figures, Li Gang's face lit up, and he hurriedly said, "Hurry up and help me kill that little bastard Ningyu." Gao Sha. Looking at the 2 figures in front of him, Ningyu's face became slightly dignified. He took a deep breath, and said in a deep voice, "If I'm not wrong, the one next to me should be Old Ghost Shio." Gao Sha's cultivation was only at the early stage of the true martial realm, so it would be easy for Ningyu to defeat him. However, Old Ghost Shio's strength was very strong, and he had already reached the peak of the middle stage of the true martial realm. Jie, I didn't expect someone to still remember my name. With a strange laugh, old Ghost Show said, boy, since you know my name, you should also know how ruthless I am. Hand over the meridian cultivating Dan and the magical weapon, and I can consider leaving your corpse intact. Second brother, why are you talking nonsense with him? With a sneer, Jiaosha said, Senior Mu Tuor said that as long as we bring Ningyu back, he promised to help us refine 2 grade 5 dans. Mu Tuor. With a gloomy face, Ningyu's eyes flickered with purple flames. Alright, I want to see what's so special about this Ningyu that a tier 5 alchemist would think so highly of him. The corner of old Ghost Show's mouth curled up. His body moved and he took the lead to charge at Ningyu. Facing old Ghost Show's powerful attack, Ningyu did not dare to be negligent. The origin chi in his sea of knowledge gushed out and gathered in his palm, and then he punched out. Hoo. The fist whistled, and the palm wrapped in violent origin chi, as if it was wrapped in scorching heat, fiercely smashed toward old Ghost Show's head. Sensing that Ningyu's fist was about to hit his head, old Ghost Show's expression changed slightly. This attack had far exceeded the limit of a peak Hutian expert. In a hurry, old Ghost Show hurriedly crossed his arms in front of his body, and his origin chi surged. Boom! The palm wrapped in origin chi heavily fell on old Ghost Show's arms, and suddenly a muffled sound came out. Then, old Ghost Show quickly retreated. After retreating a few steps, he was able to remove the force from his arms. Ningyu, you are not a Hutian realm martial artist. After stabilizing himself, old Ghost Show stared at Ningyu and coldly said. The reason why old Ghost Show did not know Ningyu's true strength was because Jiaosha did not tell him. He only told him that he had come to capture a young martial artist that a grade 5 alchemist wanted. Chapter 127. Middle Stage Xiantian. Humph. Feeling the powerful aura emanating from Ningyu's body, old Ghost Show's expression slightly changed. He coldly snorted and said, I don't care if you are at the Xiantian stage or the Hutian stage. Meeting me today is your bad luck. Show Demon Claw. Old Ghost Show's feet touched the ground and his body rushed forward. His right hand turned into a claw and quickly grabbed at Ningyu's head. Rustle. Above the claw, a slightly violent yuan chi constantly surged, giving people a feeling of extreme fear. Because this kind of yuan chi fluctuation had clearly reached the peak of the middle stage of the true martial realm. Suck. With a grave expression, Ningyu sucked in a breath of cold air and quickly formed a seal with his wrist. Netherworld Samsara Palm, Netherworld Fiend. With a light shout from Ningyu's mouth, a nearly solid palm print instantly rushed out, broke through the void, and collided with old Ghost Show's sharp claw. Catcher. When the two collided, a crisp sound rang out. The solid palm print was instantly crushed and dissipated between heaven and earth. TSK. The Show Demon Claw is a middle-grade Earth rank martial skill. When used to its peak, it can even contend with a high-grade Earth rank martial skill. With a sinister smile, old Ghost Show's figure arrived beside Ningyu in the blink of an eye. His sharp claw fiercely stabbed at Ningyu's neck. Heaven Fiend Sword Wave. At this critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly took out the soul-breaking sword and slashed at old Ghost Show's sharp claw. Damn it! The moment the soul-breaking sword was taken out, old Ghost Show's expression slightly changed. He cursed and immediately retreated. The reason why old Ghost Show retreated was because he discovered the abnormality of the soul-breaking sword. The aura fluctuation had clearly reached the level of a heaven-rank magic treasure. Even though his Show Demon Claw was incomparably powerful, he didn't dare to fight against a heaven-rank flying sword. Teish Kenpo. When old Ghost Show retreated, Ningyu seized the opportunity. The essence chi in his sea of consciousness poured into the soul-breaking sword and slashed out again. The third style of the Supreme Nine Purities sword art, Teish Kenpo, was extremely powerful. Although it was not enough to kill old Show, it could force him to retreat. I'll let you see what a real middle-stage true martial realm martial artist is like. Taking a deep breath, old Ghost Show no longer dodged and madly poured out his primal chi. Soon, Old Ghost Xiu grasped the void with both hands and all the origin chi in front of him was caught in his hands. Go! A deep voice came from Old Ghost Xiu's mouth as a berserk wave of origin energy shot out. Kai Kai! In the next moment, the Yuan Chi wave and the Teish Kenpo collided, and a monstrous shockwave spread in all directions. The powerful shockwave caused the low-level martial artists in the surroundings to tremble and find it hard to breathe. Old Ghost Xiu is actually so powerful. Jumping to a giant tree, Ningyu's face was gloomy, and his heart was faintly worried. Through that move just now, he had already judged that Old Ghost Xiu's strength was extremely powerful, comparable to Zhongjin of the Zhong family. Ningyu was very clear that the reason why he was able to kill Zhongjin was because he caught him off guard and took advantage of Zhongjin's carelessness to kill him. Once the other party was highly concentrated, he would not have the slightest chance. No, I must quickly evacuate from here. The current situation was very unfavorable for Ningyu. Even if he stayed for a moment longer, he would likely die here. Old Ghost Xiu was only ranked second among the 4 bullies. If the first-ranked old woman came, he would not even have the chance to escape. Wind, thunder, fire. Thinking of this, the purple flames in Ningyu's eyes flickered, and then 2 purple beams shot out from his eyes. With an extremely astonishing speed, they shot towards Jiao Shi and Li Gang. Since it was difficult to contend with Old Ghost Xiu head-on, Ningyu took a step back and attacked the other 2 of the 4 bullies, Jiao Shi and Li Gang. Second brother, save me. Seeing that the purple flames were about to reach him, Li Gang's pupils shrank, and he screamed as he retreated. As for Jiao Shi, his eyes were solemn, and he did not dare to be negligent. The Yuan Qi in his body surged out, and he tried his best to resist the purple flames from Ningyu's eyes. Not good. The moment he saw the purple flames, Old Ghost Xiu's heart trembled, but he quickly reacted. He immediately gave up attacking Ningyu and turned to save Li Gang. If Ningyu could contend with him, then killing Li Gang, who was only at the peak of the innate realm, would be a piece of cake. Therefore, he had to help Li Gang. Good chance. The moment Old Ghost Xiu moved, Ningyu's eyes lit up. He immediately turned in the air, and then quickly rushed towards Qianxian City. Teish Kenpo. In order to prevent Old Ghost Xiu from catching up, Ningyu repeatedly slashed out several shocking sword lights, all of which bombarded Li Gang. Swoosh. Immediately, Yuan Qi quickly burned on Ningyu's feet, raising his speed to the extreme. Like lightning, he moved in the dense forest. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. Seeing Ningyu fly away, Old Ghost Xiu was so angry that his teeth itched, but there was nothing he could do. Because the Teish Kenpo that Ningyu used at the end was extremely powerful. If he did not help Li Gang to resist it, Li Gang would definitely be killed. Swish. 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 3 breaths passed in the blink of an eye. In 3 breaths, Old Ghost Xiu completely destroyed the Teish Kenpo that Ningyu used and saved Li Gang. However, Ningyu had already vanished without a trace. Second brother, should we chase after him? Jiao Shi's complexion was also very unsightly. He did not expect that 3 of the 4 great tyrants would not be able to catch Ningyu, yet he easily escaped. If this news were to spread, wouldn't the 4 great tyrants become a laughingstock in Wise Ruler City? No need, Ningyu is not simple. Since he ran away with all his strength, if we want to catch up with him, we will have to spend a lot of effort. Waving his hand, Old Ghost Xiu solemnly said, "Let's go back to Wise Ruler City." Go back. Slightly startled, Jiao Shi said, "Are we just going to let it go like this?" Humph. In my heart, Ningyu is already a dead man. Coldly snorting, Old Ghost Xiu said, "After we go back, use all our strength to investigate Ningyu. No matter what, we must find out everything about him within 3 days. In addition, I will use these 3 days to attack the late stage of true martial realm." Twisting his neck, Old Ghost Xiu gloomily said, "At that time, even if Ningyu has 3 heads and 6 arms, he will not be able to escape from the palm of my hand. Second brother, you want to attack the late stage of true martial realm." Hearing Old Ghost Xiu's words, Li Gang's eyes lit up and happily said, "Great, great. Fourth brother, your cultivation is only at the peak of Xiantian realm, your strength is very weak. Waving his hand, Old Ghost Show continued, "When we return to Wise Ruler City, I will find a way to help you get a true martial Dan. Cultivate well and strive to advance to the early stage of true martial realm within 3 days. Thank you, second brother." Li Gang quickly expressed his gratitude. "Alright, let's return to Wise Ruler City immediately, we can't waste a single second." With that, Old Ghost Show's figure flashed and rushed toward Wise Ruler City. Chapter 128. Swoosh. In front of the gate of Qianqian City, a figure flashed past, turning into an afterimage as it rushed towards the Ning family. After escaping from Old Ghost Show and the others, Ningyu hurried on without stopping and finally arrived at Qianqian City before dark. The other 3 families should have been dealt with. Looking at the quiet streets of Qianqian City, Ningyu nodded with satisfaction. When he left Qianqian City, he had already killed all the old ancestors and patriarchs of the 3 families. As for the remaining forces, it was not difficult to eradicate them with the strength of Ju Tong and Ning Tang. In other words, at this time, everything in Qianqian City was under the control of the Ning family. Swoosh. With a flash, Ningyu landed in front of the Ning family's gate. "Who is it?" As soon as Ningyu's feet touched the ground, he was surrounded by 2 early-stage Xiantian warriors, one on the left and one on the right. One of the taller early-stage Xiantian warriors shouted, "This is the Ning family's territory. Those who have no business here should leave quickly. Haha, not bad, not bad." With a slight smile, Ningyu's whole body revealed his aura. Swoosh, swoosh. The moment Ningyu released his aura, 2 figures appeared in front of him at an astonishing speed. Chairman Ju, Great Elder. Looking at the 2 familiar figures, Ningyu said, "Ningyu, it's good that you're back. Go and see the old patriarch." Seeing Ningyu, Ning Tang said hurriedly, "Go." With a change of expression, Ningyu did not hesitate and strode into the Ning family. Damn it. In the secret room, seeing the pale Ninghe, Ningyu clenched his fists and said in a deep voice, "Chairman Ju and Great Elder, please go out for a while. I'll give it a try." Originally, Ningyu thought that buying the meridian repairing pill could cure Ninghe, but now it seemed that he had thought too much. Ninghe's injuries had worsened. Not only were all the meridians in his body broken, but his aura was also extremely weak. Even the sea of consciousness, which cultivators valued the most, was shattered beyond recognition. The slightest impact could cause it to shatter. Sigh. Sighing lightly, Ning Tang and Ju Tong left the secret room together. In fact, during the time when Ningyu went to Bright King City, Ning Tang and the others had tried every means to save Ninghe, but the effect was minimal. In the end, Ning Tang and the others even sentenced Ninghe to death, with no hope of recovery. Ju Tong, tell me the truth. Is there any way to cure the old patriarch? Ning Tang asked outside the secret chamber. After pondering for a while, Ju Tong frowned and said, "Actually, it's not that there's no way. As long as we can buy the meridian repairing pill, Ninghe still has a glimmer of hope to recover." Hearing this, Ning Tang's face lit up with joy. Now that the Ning family was in control of Qianqian City, if they used their full power, they would be able to get their hands on the meridian cultivating pill very quickly. However, even if we can buy the meridian cultivating pill, the chances of Ninghe recovering are minimal. Before Ning Tang could be happy for long, Ju Tong poured cold water on him and said in a deep voice, "Repairing the meridians is also a huge project. Without soul force reaching the 4th grade, it's impossible to complete this project." 4th grade soul force. Ning Tang's heart trembled and his face turned gloomy. A person with a 4th grade soul force was either a 4th grade alchemist or a peak of the true martial realm or a Yuandan realm martial artist. At this juncture, where could he find a 4th grade alchemist or a peak of the true martial realm martial artist? That's right. Suddenly, Ning Tang's eyes lit up and said, Patriarch is very strong. As long as Patriarch returns, I believe he can definitely cure the old Patriarch. No, I have to find a way to buy the meridian cultivating pill as soon as possible." As if he saw hope, Ning Tang hurriedly bid farewell to Ju Tong and planned to use all his strength to buy the meridian cultivating pill. 1 day's time, only 1 day's time. Looking at Ning Tang's back, Jutong sighed and immediately walked towards the Alchemy Union. In order to help the Ning family, he hadn't returned to the Alchemy Union for a few days. There were still many big and small matters waiting for him to deal with. Now that Ning Yu was back, with him holding the fort, he believed that some rascals would not dare to behave atrociously. Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill. Looking at the extremely weak Ning He on the bed, Ning Yu flicked his wrist and took out the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill. For Ning his current physical condition, the high-grade Meridian Cultivating Pill was no longer of much use, so Ning Yu planned to directly use the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill. Slowly circulating the spirit transformation art, Ning Yu adjusted his mental state to its peak, then placed the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill into Ning his mouth. The Meridian Cultivating Pill was a 5th grade elixir. After swallowing it, there was no need to chew and it could be digested by itself. However, the speed of self-digestion was extremely slow, and it would take about a day for it to flow through the whole body. Go. One day. Ning Yu could not wait any longer, and neither could Ning He. In the next moment, Ning Yu's soul force surged and entered Ning his body. The soul force with the strength of 4th grade guided the efficacy of the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill to flow in Ning his body. Every time he reached a broken tendon, Ning Yu would leave a wisp of soul force to wrap the efficacy of the Supreme Grade Meridian Cultivating Pill and slowly repair Ning his tendon. Because Ning his tendon and meridian were seriously broken, after only 10 minutes, Ning Yu had only separated 10 wisps of soul force, and he already felt a little powerless. A sense of weakness swept through his whole body. Swish. Gritting his teeth, Ning Yu took out a few pieces of high-grade origin crystals from his storage ring. While replenishing his consumed origin energy, he carefully helped Ning He to repair his tendon and meridian. Damn it! If my soul force reached the strength of 5th grade, I could easily repair these damaged tendon and meridian. Cursing in his heart, Ning Yu did not dare to neglect. While repairing Ning his broken tendon and meridian, he also separated a few wisps of soul force to repair his damaged sea of consciousness. As a peak 9th grade alchemist in his previous life, Ning Yu was very clear that the tendon and sea of consciousness must be repaired at the same time, otherwise there would be sequelae. Therefore, even though he was weak and exhausted, Ning Yu still persisted. An hour later, Ning Yu's forehead was covered with beads of sweat. His eyes were slightly closed, and his whole body was faintly tottering. Kai Kai. 2 hours later, Ning Yu's eyes suddenly opened, and his face was filled with joy. The reason why he was happy was not that Ning He had been cured, but that the efficacy of the first wisp of soul force wrapped in the Meridian Cultivating Pill had been completely absorbed by Ning his tendon and meridian. Ning his broken tendon and meridian were also preliminarily connected. Come back. After preliminarily connecting the tendon and meridian, Ning Yu's wisp of soul force was released and turned to help other soul forces. At this speed, it won't be long before grandfather's tendon and meridian can be completely repaired. Catcher. Taking out a few pieces of high-grade origin crystals again, Ning Yu devoted himself to treating Ning He. The things in the outside world could no longer cause any interference to him. At this time, he had already entered a state where he forgot himself. Boom. Just as Ning Yu was treating Ning He with all his strength, an earth-shattering loud sound came out from the forbidden area of the magical Beast Mountain range. Then, a figure galloped past and ran wildly out of the forbidden area. Chapter 129. The sun set and rose. In the blink of an eye, a night had passed. Creak. Early the next morning, the door of the secret chamber was slowly pushed open, and Ning Yu came out. Phew. When the first ray of sunlight shone on his cheeks, Ning Yu heaved a sigh of relief. His tense nerves finally eased a little. After a night of all-out treatment, Ning his injury had been under control. His broken tendons and meridians had all been repaired. Even his sea of consciousness, which was on the verge of collapse, had been saved by Ning Yu. Such a huge project had made Ning Yu so weak that he didn't even have much strength to walk. Gu. The hunger from his stomach made Ning Yu a little absent-minded. Ever since he was reborn, he had never felt so hungry. Ning Yu, you're out. How is the situation of the elderly head? Just as Ningyu wanted to find something to eat, Ning Tang came to him and asked, I have used the family's power to buy meridian repairing pills in the surrounding cities. I believe it won't be long before I can buy meridian repairing pills. Waving his hand, Ningyu said, no need. Call back all the members of the family who have been dispatched. My grandfather is fine now. Meridian repairing pill was a 5th grade medicinal pill. Even the lowest grade meridian repairing pill required tens of thousands of upper grade essence crystals. With the current strength of the Ning family, it was really difficult to take out so many upper grade essence crystals at once. Moreover, His injury had been under control. He only needed to rest for a period of time to recover completely. There was no need to buy meridian repairing pills. Even if he really needed meridian repairing pills, Ningyu still had one upper grade meridian repairing pill left, which was enough. The elderly head is fine. Ning Tang's eyes widened, and his face was full of disbelief. Ning Tang was very clear about his injury. All his tendons and meridians were broken, and his sea of consciousness was damaged. Such a serious injury was cured by Ningyu in one night? No one would believe it if it was spread out. When he saw Ning Tang's expression, Ningyu shrugged and said, you can go take a look, but don't make any noise. By the way, send 50 sets of herbs needed to refine the solidifying pill to my room later. With that, Ningyu turned around and left. Ningyu had promised the people of Drunken Cloud House and Snow Domain Pavilion that as long as they helped to attack the Lin family, he would give each of them a high-grade soul condensing pill. With Ningyu's current level of alchemy, it wasn't too difficult to refine a few dozen superior-grade condensing essence pills. He wants to personally refine the soul condensing pill? Looking at Ningyu's back, Ning Tang frowned slightly, feeling somewhat puzzled. The essence solidifying pill was a 3rd-grade elixir. Moreover, it was one of the best among 3rd-grade elixirs. Ningyu actually wanted to refine it himself. Didn't that mean that Ningyu's alchemy level had already reached the 3rd level? Thinking of this, Ning Tang's face was full of disbelief. This secret mustn't be known by outsiders. Taking a deep breath, Ning Tang didn't have the time to check on his injuries. He hurriedly left the Ning family and rushed towards Snow Domain Pavilion. He wanted to personally buy the herbs. In this way, even if others suspected something, they would suspect him instead of Ningyu. Regarding Ning Tang's actions, Ningyu didn't know. However, even if he knew, he would just laugh it off. If Ning Tang knew that not only could he refine 3rd-grade elixirs, but he could also refine 4th-grade elixirs, it was unknown how Ning Tang would feel. Leaving the secret chamber, Ningyu first looked for something to eat to fill his stomach before returning to his room. Swish. After returning to his room, Ningyu hurriedly took out several pieces of high-grade essence crystals, operated the transformation spiritual art, and began to absorb and refine them. Ningyu's current soul strength had reached the 4th grade, and his cultivation had reached the middle stage of the Xiantian realm. Originally, refining the essence condensing pill was a piece of cake. However, refining 50 furnaces of essence condensing pills at once, even Ningyu found it a little difficult. After all, after a night's time, the essence qi in his sea of consciousness had almost been consumed, and there wasn't much left at this time. If he wanted to refine 50 furnaces of essence condensing pills, he must replenish the consumed essence qi as soon as possible. Catcher. The 3rd level of the transformation spiritual art allowed him to absorb essence qi at lightning speed. In just an hour, Ningyu had already completely replenished the essence qi in one cyclone. After replenishing one cyclone, Ningyu didn't rush to replenish the 2nd cyclone. Instead, he got up and walked to the door. Squeak. Just as Ningyu arrived in front of the door, Ning Tang pushed the door open and walked in. Ningyu, these are the 50 sets of herbs needed to refine the essence condensing pill. Putting a small storage bag on the table, Ning Tang said, you can rest assured. I have already issued a death order. Without your permission, no one is allowed to take half a step into this room. Thank you, Grand Elder. Ningyu understood Ning Tang's good intentions and said solemnly, this matter is not convenient to spread. I hope you can keep it a secret for me. Ning Tang's face was a little blank as he said, what are you talking about? I'm just passing by. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. The patriarch isn't here, and there are still many things waiting for me to deal with. Take care, Grand Elder. Bowing to Ning Tang, Ning Yu closed the door. For safety's sake, he left a wisp of his soul force outside the room. Sure enough, there are 50 sets of herbs needed to refine the essence condensing pill. Probing the storage bag with his soul force, Ning Yu first took out a set of herbs. Patting his storage ring, Ning Yu threw the furnace above his head. Wind, thunder, fire. Focusing his eyes, the wind, thunder, and fire danced continuously on Ning Yu's fingertips. Grabbing an entire set of herbs, he threw them all into the furnace. Then, the purple flame on his fingertips continued to expand, burning at the bottom of the furnace. Sizzle. As the purple flame burned, the temperature at the bottom of the furnace gradually increased. In the end, there was even a sizzling sound coming from the furnace. With the help of the wind, thunder, and fire, concocting the essence condensing pill is indeed very easy. About 15 minutes later, Ning Yu patted the furnace. Instantly, the lid of the furnace opened, and a round medicinal pill flew out. Pa! Ning Yu's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He grabbed the medicinal pill and put it into the jade bottle that he had prepared earlier. High-rank essence condensing pill. Looking at the quality of the medicinal pill in the jade bottle, Ning Yu nodded his head in satisfaction. With his level, he could definitely concoct a supreme rank essence condensing pill. However, he didn't do so. After all, these essence condensing pills were for the cultivators of the Snow Pavilion. It was already unbelievable that he could take out so many high-rank essence condensing pills at once. If he took out a supreme rank essence condensing pill, he believed that it would definitely cause a commotion. High-rank essence condensing pills were still okay. He could say that he bought them with money. As for supreme rank essence condensing pills, they were priceless. Even if he spent money, it would be very difficult to buy them. Go. The first batch of essence condensing pills was successfully concocted. With a flick of his wrist, Ning Yu threw another set of herbs into the furnace and started to concoct the second batch of essence condensing pills. With the speed of concocting a batch of essence condensing pills in 15 minutes, 50 batches of essence condensing pills could be completely concocted in 10 hours. Although concocting essence condensing pills was very exhausting, it was also very helpful for cultivating the soul. Chapter 130. While Ning Yu was refining the soul solidifying pill, the Ning family's meeting hall was extremely quiet. A middle-aged man sat at the head of the table. Below him, a group of experts from the Ning family stood on both sides. Sensing the powerful pressure emanating from the man at the head of the table, the experts from the Ning family did not even dare to breathe loudly as they sat quietly in their chairs. Cough, cough. The silence did not last long before it was broken by the middle-aged man at the head of the table. He coughed dryly and stood up. His gaze swept across the crowd as he said in a deep voice, "Originally, I wanted to deal with the other 3 families after I solved my own problems. I did not expect them to be the first to launch an attack and deal a heavy blow to the Ning family. As the master of the Ning family, I did not step forward to tide over the difficulties with everyone during the family's most difficult time. I am not qualified to be the master of the Ning family." Retracting his aura, Ning Hai continued, "Therefore, I have decided that from today onwards, I will abdicate the position of the master of the Ning family and give it to the great elder, Ning Tang." Ning Hai's words caused the meeting hall to once again become terrifyingly quiet. No one had expected that the first thing Ning Hai did upon his return would be to abdicate. This was completely out of their expectations. After all, the aura that Ning Hai had emitted earlier made their hearts palpitate. That aura had most likely reached the pinnacle of the true martial realm. Whoosh! A moment later, the crowd was in a heated discussion. Ning Tang's expression changed slightly as he hurriedly said, "Master, you must not. Although you did not return when the family was in danger, Ning Yu single-handedly supported the Ning family and killed Lin Jingtian and the others." "That's right, Master. The reason why the Ning family was able to survive this disaster and control Tianxian City is all thanks to Ning Yu. Master, you don't have to blame yourself. We all know that you had to leave Tianxian City because of something. The other 3 families were despicable and shameless. They took advantage of your absence to attack the Ning family. You couldn't do anything about it. Waving his hand, Ning Hai said, "You don't have to say any more. I have already made up my mind. I will not change it. Also, I will only stay in Tianqian City for 3 days this time. After 3 days, I will leave Tianqian City." Ning Hai continued, "Once I leave, I don't know when I can return. Therefore, the position of family head will be assumed by Ning Tang, who's not convinced." Patriarch, sigh. Ning Tang opened his mouth slightly, wanting to say something, but he didn't say anything in the end. Of all the people present, perhaps only he knew Ning Hai's plan. He knew the most about the earth-shattering battle 18 years ago. Now that Ning Hai had made this decision, he should be happy for Ning Hai, but he couldn't feel happy at all. After all, Ning Hai was about to face an extremely huge force. "All right, all of you can leave. Ning Tang, stay behind," Ning Hai said indifferently as he sat on a chair. After everyone left, Ning Tang said hesitantly, "Patriarch, is it worth it for you to do this? I have waited for this moment for 18 years. As long as I have a clear conscience, there is nothing worth it." Taking a deep breath, Ning Hai said, "After I leave, the Ning family will be handed over to you. I don't expect you to lead the Ning family to glory, but I also don't want the Ning family to completely decline in your hands. Patriarch, don't worry. As long as I am here, the Ning family will not fall." Ning Tang patted his chest and guaranteed. "Tell me about what happened during this period of time," Ning Hai said. "Patriarch, not long after you left, the Lin family took the lead and launched a strong attack on the Ning family." Sorting out his thoughts, Ning Tang began to speak slowly. Very quickly, Ning Tang told Ning Hai everything that happened in the past few days from beginning to end. Phew. After listening to Ning Tang's redundant narration, Ning Hai let out a long sigh, his eyes flashing. "You mean, Yu is now refining the soul solidifying pill?" Suppressing the joy in his heart, Ning Hai asked. "That's right. Ning Yu asked me to buy 50 sets of medicinal materials needed to refine the soul condensing pill. He should be refining the soul condensing pill now." Ning Tang said, "Also, the old patriarch's injury was also cured by him. Regarding Yu refining the pill and curing the patriarch, keep it a secret. Don't let anyone know." With a gloomy face, Ning Hai said in a deep voice, "I will go see the patriarch now. After Yu is done refining the pill, let him see me in the secret chamber." In the next moment, Ning Hai moved his feet and instantly left the meeting hall. Swoosh. Seeing Ning Hai disappear, Ning Tang was stunned on the spot. Because Ning Hai disappeared so quickly that he didn't even have time to react. In other words, if Ning Hai wanted to kill him, it would be effortless. Although my cultivation has just advanced to the late stage of the Xiantian realm, it will be difficult for a martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm to instantly disappear under my eyes, unless it is a martial artist at the Yuandan realm. Eyes burning, Ning Tang forcefully suppressed the excitement in his heart and turned to leave the meeting hall. Catcher, catcher, catcher. In Ning Yu's room, as the high-grade yuan crystals continued to shatter, soul-solidifying pills flew out one after another. 49th pill. 50th pill. Placing the last 2 soul-solidifying pills into the jade bottle, Ning Yu let out a long sigh and sat on the floor. Not bad at all. Although he was exhausted and the yuan qi in his sea of consciousness was depleted, Ning Yu didn't feel the slightest bit depressed. Instead, he was extremely excited. "Come out." A wisp of soul force gushed out from his body and wrapped around his wrist. With a flip of his palm, Ning Yu blasted out a palm print. Wong wong. The palm print dissipated in the air, leaving behind a shockwave. My soul force has reached the middle stage of the 4th grade. Even the power of the netherworld Samsara palm's 3rd palm, the Dark Fiend, has increased by 2 levels. Feeling the power of the Dark Fiend, Ning Yu was extremely satisfied. He originally thought that after increasing his soul force to the middle stage of the 4th grade, the power of the Dark Fiend would only increase by 1 level. Now, it seemed that it had completely exceeded his expectations. Let's replenish the yuan qi in my sea of consciousness first. Although he was extremely weak, Ning Yu didn't rest. Instead, he took out a high-grade yuan crystal and began to absorb and refine it. With his soul force reaching the middle stage of the 4th grade, Ning Yu's speed of absorbing yuan qi had also increased a lot. In less than 3 hours, he had filled all 3 cyclones with yuan qi. As for the cyclones of wind, thunder, and fire, the moment the yuan qi entered, it would be devoured by the wind, thunder, and fire. It was like a bottomless pit that could never be filled. Forget it. Now that I've recovered to my peak condition, it's time to give the high-grade soul-solidifying pills to the people from Snow Pavilion and Drunken Cloud House. Originally, Ning Yu wanted to try to break through to the late stage of the Xiantian realm. However, since he had already refined the high-grade soul-solidifying pills, he might as well give them to the people from Snow Pavilion first. After all, when the Ning family was in danger, they chose to stand with the Ning family and help the Ning family. Naturally, Ning Yu wouldn't let them suffer a loss. Chapter 131. Not long after Ning Yu left the room, Ning Tang came to greet him. First Elder, I was just about to look for you. Seeing Ning Tang, Ning Yu took out a storage bag and said, there are high-grade solidifying pills in here, please help me distribute them. Taking the storage bag, Ning Tang said, leave this matter to me, you don't have to worry about it. Also, your father wants you to see him in the secret chamber. Is my father back? Hearing Ning Tang's words, Ning Yu frowned slightly and said, I'll go to the secret chamber now. Saying so, Ning Yu walked towards the secret chamber. Looking at Ning Yu's back, Ning Tang was a little confused because he felt something unusual about Ning Yu. Forget it, I'll just distribute the solidifying pills. Shaking his head, Ning Tang took the storage bag and left the Ning family. Creak. The heavy door to the secret chamber was slowly pushed open. After Ning Yu entered the secret chamber, he saw Ning Hai standing in the middle with his hands behind his back. This aura, feeling the strong aura from Ning Hai, Ning Yu's eyes narrowed and his heart couldn't help but tremble. I'm afraid it has already surpassed the true martial realm and reached the Yuandan realm, or even higher. Eyes filled with shock, Ning Yu said calmly, Father, may I know why you called me here? Good, very good. I didn't think you'd already reached the middle stage of the Xiantian realm. Not directly answering Ning Yu's question, Ning Hai nodded in satisfaction and asked, which form of the Supreme Nine Purities sword art have you practiced to? Replying Father, I've practiced to the 3rd form, Teish Kenpo, Ning Yu replied. Ning Hai's heart skipped a beat as he said, show it to me. Ning Hai was very clear about the difficulty of cultivating the Supreme Nine Purities sword technique. In the Supreme Nine Purities temple, except for a few freaks, almost no one could cultivate the 3rd form of the Supreme Nine Purities sword technique in such a short time. Moreover, Ning Yu's cultivation was only at the middle stage of the Xiantian realm, Teish Kenpo. Ning Yu exerted a little force on his back leg and rose from the ground. At the same time, he waved the broken soul sword in his hand and stabbed out. Suddenly, a shocking sword light swept out and blasted towards Ning Hai. Kai Kai. Ning Yu did not hold back this time. On the contrary, he used all his strength. The friction between the sword aura and the air produced a sizzling sound. It really is the 3rd form of the Supreme Nine Purities sword art, Teish Kenpo. With a flash of shock in his eyes, Ning Hai casually waved his hand and dispersed the sword aura. He then said in a deep voice, the Supreme Nine Purities sword art, each form is harder to cultivate than the previous one. You must not be arrogant and think that the later forms are easy to cultivate. To tell you the truth, even among the core disciples of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple, only a few can successfully cultivate the 4th form of the Supreme Nine Purities sword art. In order to prevent Ning Yu from becoming arrogant, Ning Hai had to warn him. Before you advance to the true martial realm, you must not try to cultivate the 4th form. Father, I will remember, Ning Yu said. Not bad. Nodding his head, Ning Hai reached into his pocket and took out a palm-sized silver-white box. He handed it to Ning Yu. Taking the silver-white box, Ning Yu was slightly stunned. Father, what is inside? Open it and you will know, Ning Hai said lightly. Hearing this, Ning Yu opened the silver-white box. Swoosh. As soon as the box was opened, A cold light flew out and attacked Ningyu's face. Damn it! Cursing, Ningyu's expression changed. He quickly waved the soul-severing sword and slashed. Swoosh! However, the cold light was extremely fast. Just as the sword aura was about to hit it, it suddenly disappeared before Ningyu's eyes. Where do you think you are going? With a cold snort, Ningyu released his soul power, trying to find the cold light. However, no matter how his soul power probed, he could not find the exact location of the cold light. This is the phantom armor of the Phantom Rat clan. Just then, Ninghai's figure flashed out. He quickly forced the cold light out and grabbed it in his hand. Waving the dark golden armor in his hand, Ninghai smiled and said, "I will give it to you now." Phantom armor. It is the phantom armor of the Phantom Rat clan. Seeing the dark golden armor in Ninghai's hand, Ningyu's eyes were filled with shock. So much so that his mouth was slightly open that 2 eggs could be stuffed inside. Ningyu understood the phantom armor very well. It could be said that he understood it to his bones. In his previous life, among the 9 Earth sovereigns that besieged him, there was one who wore the phantom armor and was extremely fast. Even though his cultivation was at the Sky Sovereign level, his speed was not as fast as that Earth Sovereign who wore the phantom armor. However, the Phantom Sovereign was not from the Phantom Rat clan. It was said that the phantom armor he wore was obtained from the Phantom Rat clan. I never thought that I would be lucky enough to obtain a phantom armor in this life. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said calmly, "Father, is there anything special about this phantom armor?" Although he knew how precious the phantom armor was, Ningyu did not know much about the dark golden phantom armor in Ninghai's hand. That was because there were 2 types of phantom armors. One had a fixed grade, and the other could be upgraded. There was no need to talk about the fixed grade. As for the phantom armor that could be upgraded, it was the treasure of the Phantom Rat clan. In the entire Phantom Rat clan, there were only 3 of them. One was snatched by the Phantom Sovereign, one was with the Phantom Rat King, and the last one was most likely in Ninghai's hand. This phantom armor is only a mid-earth rank armor. Ninghai explained, it is an armor that can be upgraded. However, it is not easy to upgrade it. It requires a large amount of energy. Let me put it this way, 1,000,000 high-grade yuan crystals can upgrade it from the earth rank middle grade to the earth rank high grade. Holy shit! Although Ningyu was mentally prepared, he could not help but curse in his heart when he heard Ninghai's words. 1,000,000 high-grade yuan crystals could already buy a heaven rank low-grade artifact, but it could only upgrade the phantom armor from the earth rank middle grade to the earth rank high grade. One could imagine that upgrading the phantom armor to the earth rank top grade, or even the heaven rank low grade, would require at least 10 million high-grade yuan crystals. The greater the effort, the greater the reward. Seeing the helplessness in Ningyu's eyes, Ninghai said, "I will leave Tianqian City in 3 days. Therefore, in these 3 days, I will do my best to help you refine the phantom armor and make it a part of your body. In addition, you are only at the innate realm middle grade. The strength of your soul force is still not enough to reach the 4th grade middle grade." Shaking his head, Ninghai said solemnly, "This time, when I leave Tianqian City, I asked for a barrel of intermittent cold jade fluid for you. When the time comes, you can lie in it and cultivate. As for how much medicinal energy you can absorb, it will depend on your luck." Intermittent cold jade fluid. Extremely shocked, Ningyu even had a feeling of being in a trance. The intermittent cold jade fluid was a 6th grade medicinal fluid. Its medicinal effect was equivalent to a 6th grade elixir. Moreover, compared to ordinary 6th grade elixirs, the intermittent cold jade fluid was much easier to absorb and refine. It was the best medicinal fluid for cultivation. With the intermittent cold jade fluid, even a person with poor talent could advance from the innate realm middle grade to the late grade. Chapter 132. While Ningyu was still in a state of shock, Ninghai took out a wooden barrel that was as tall as a person from his storage pouch. The barrel was filled with a light purple medicinal liquid. One could faintly see that the medicinal liquid was emitting a faint cold air. 1,000-year ebony. Seeing the barrel, Ningyu's first reaction was shock. His second reaction was even more shock. 1,000-year ebony was extremely valuable. Even though it was not as valuable as the intermittent cold jade fluid, it was not that far off. This was because 1,000-year ebony was the main ingredient in certain Tier 7 pills. Don't just stand there. This is the intermittent cold jade fluid. You can cultivate in it later. Ning Hai pointed at the barrel made of 1,000-year ebony and said, even though the intermittent cold jade fluid contains a lot of energy, it is unusually cold. If you can't take it anymore, you can come out. Father, I will remember. When he came back to his senses, Ningyu took a step forward and jumped into the wooden barrel with a plop. Enjoy it. Seeing how reckless Ningyu was, jumping into the barrel without any preparation, Ning Hai's mouth twitched uncontrollably. Then, he quickly left the secret chamber. After all, he would be leaving Tianxian City in 3 days. He had to get rid of all the uncertainties within these 3 days. Only then could he leave with peace of mind. Hiss. As soon as he jumped into the barrel, Ningyu felt a strong chill engulfing his entire body. The bone-chilling feeling on his skin made him suck in a breath of cold air. Moreover, there was a strong sense of oppression around him that made it hard for him to breathe. However, what made Ningyu feel relieved was that his entire body was filled with unbelievably pure energy. This energy was all rushing into his body, trying to force its way into his consciousness. The pressure is so strong. The barrel was as tall as a person. Even though Ningyu's entire body was submerged in it, there was no problem at all. However, every centimeter he went down, the strong sense of oppression around him increased a little. I have to sink to the bottom. With a cold glint in his eyes, Ningyu clenched his teeth and unleashed his 4th-grade soul force, enveloping his body and slowly sinking down. Thanks to the protection of a 4th-grade soul force, Ningyu's body soon sank to the bottom of the barrel. F***CK. Holy shit. When his body reached the bottom of the barrel, Ningyu couldn't help but curse when he retracted his soul power. Because the pressure at the bottom of the barrel had already reached a limit, and it even caused him to have the impulse to jump out of the barrel. However, as he sensed the rich energy around him, Ningyu held his breath and slowly circulated the spirit transformation technique. With the circulation of the spirit transformation technique, Ningyu gradually adapted to the super strong pressure at the bottom of the barrel. After Xiao Chen got used to the pressure, the pure energy contained in the intermittent frost jade fluid began to flow through his entire body and into his sea of consciousness. Buzz. After about an hour, Ningyu felt one of the cyclones loosen a little. Although the loosening was extremely weak, it was still detected by Ningyu's sharp senses. There's a chance. At this rate, I can advance to the late-stage Xiantian in less than a day. Ningyu was ecstatic. He once again exerted his strength and circulated the 3rd level of the spirit transformation technique, absorbing the energy like crazy. Catcher. The 3rd level of the spirit transformation technique absorbed the energy at lightning speed. With a crisp sound, the energy around Ningyu seemed to find a target and rushed into his sea of consciousness. With so much energy rushing into his sea of consciousness, Ningyu's 4 cyclones also expanded continuously. Catcher. 6 hours later, Ningyu seemed to hear 4 slight explosions in his sea of consciousness. The 4 cyclones seemed to be filled with air and expanded again. Late-stage Xiantian. At this moment, Ningyu successfully broke through to the late-stage Xiantian realm. The intermittent frost jade fluid is indeed extraordinary. I have only absorbed 1/5 of its energy and I have already advanced to the late-stage Xiantian realm. After advancing to the late-stage Xiantian realm, the energy contained in each of Ningyu's cyclones was comparable to that of an early-stage true martial realm martial artist. As the cyclones expanded, the amount of energy they could contain increased, causing Ningyu to spend an entire day to fill them up. Moreover, he had only filled 3 cyclones. As for the cyclones of wind, thunder, and fire, they were still like a bottomless pit. The moment the energy entered, it would be swallowed by the wind, thunder, and fire. There's still so much pure energy left. If I absorb all of it, I can almost advance to the peak of the Xiantian realm. With a solemn expression, Ningyu began to ponder. According to the current situation, it wouldn't be difficult for him to advance to the peak of the Xiantian realm. However, he had an idea in his heart. He wanted to use the pure energy to split the cyclones. All of you, go in. Without further ado, Ning Yu hurriedly circulated the transformation spirit art, and the pure energy in the surroundings all entered his cyclone. Suppress. As the cyclones had already been filled up, along with the influx of pure energy, the cyclones showed signs of expanding. The expansion of the cyclones would allow Ning Yu to advance to the peak of the Xiantian realm. However, this was obviously not what Ning Yu wanted. In the next moment, he poured his soul force into his sea of consciousness and frantically suppressed the cyclones. Fortunately, Ning Yu's soul force had already advanced to the mid-stage of 4th grade, otherwise, he really wouldn't be able to suppress the impact of the expanding cyclones. Catcher, catcher, catcher. After another day, along with 3 crisp sounds, Ning Yu's face lit up with joy. At this moment, the 3 cyclones suddenly shattered and split into 6. Adding the cyclones of wind, thunder, and fire, in other words, the number of cyclones in Ning Yu's sea of consciousness had reached an astonishing 7. Of the 7 cyclones, excluding the cyclones of wind, thunder, and fire, the remaining 6 cyclones could contain the energy of the early-stage true martial realm. After the cyclones were successfully divided, Ning Yu spent some time to fill up the 6 cyclones. The energy in the intermittent cold jade fluid has almost been completely absorbed by me. There's not much left. Now it's time to refine the phantom armor. With a swoosh, Ning Yu jumped out of the wooden barrel and took out the phantom armor from his storage ring. Shio. He separated a wisp of soul force and quietly poured it into the phantom armor. Soul imprint. There was no soul imprint in the phantom armor. Therefore, Ning Yu only spent a dozen minutes to engrave his soul force into the phantom armor. Kai. After that, Ning Yu forced a drop of blood and dripped it on the phantom armor. Ning Yu was very clear that for a top-notch magical equipment like the phantom armor, just engraving a soul imprint was not enough. He needed to refine it with a drop of blood and make it a part of his body. Only in this way could he display the advantage of the phantom armor's speed. The advantage of the Phantom Mouse clan was speed. As the clan's most valuable treasure, the phantom armor's speed was needless to say. Chapter 133. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Ning Hai sat at the head of the table, his eyes slowly swept across the crowd, finally stopping at the great elder of the Ning family, Ning Tang. Ning Hai said in a deep voice, "I will leave Tianxian City tomorrow morning. At that time, all matters of the Ning family will be handled by Ning Tang." Ning Hai said in a deep voice, "I will leave Tianxian City tomorrow morning. At that time, all matters of the Ning family will be handled by Ning Tang. I don't want any power struggles in the family while I am away. Ning Tang, do you have the confidence to be the head of the family?" Ning Hai asked. Ning Tang stood up and said hurriedly, "Head, don't worry, I have the confidence." Ning Tang's breathing was steady and not impetuous. The vigorous Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness and the faint Yuan Qi halo around his body indicated that he had reached the Xiantian full cycle. If Ning Tang was still in the advanced stage of the Xiantian stage, he might not have the confidence to control the Ning family and Tianxian City. But now that he had advanced to the Xiantian full cycle, he absolutely had the confidence to control the Ning family and Tianxian City. Moreover, the most important thing was that Ning Hai had already resolved all the unstable factors in Tianxian City. Some of the rascals would not be able to escape the disaster. Under this premise, Ning Tang was even more confident. "Ning Tang, stay. The rest of you can go back," Ning Hai said lightly with a wave of his hand. Whoosh. The dozens of martial artists in the hall left the meeting hall in an orderly manner. "Family head, do you want to bring Ning Yu along when you leave this time?" Ning Tang asked doubtfully after everyone left. "I will go by myself. As for you, I plan to let him go to Danwu College to gain some experience," Ning Hai said, shaking his head. Ning Tang was slightly stunned, feeling a little incredulous. In his opinion, since Ning Hai had chosen to leave Tianxian City, it was natural to bring Ning Yu along. He did not expect Ning Hai to leave alone and choose to send Ning Yu to Danwu College. "Head, isn't this a little?" Ning Tang said with a slight frown. However, before he could finish his words, Ning Hai interrupted him and said, I've already made up my mind about you. You don't need to say anything more. Then, Ning Hai shook his wrist and a storage bag appeared in his hand. There are some magic treasures and medicinal pills inside. Take them and use them to improve the cultivation bases of the younger generation. Handing the storage pouch to Ning Tang, Ning Hai continued, if a clan wants to develop in the long run, it is necessary to have a top-notch fighting force, but the strength of the younger generation cannot be too weak. Patriarch, Ning Xian, and the others went to participate in the Icy Caves test and have yet to return. Taking the storage bag, Ning Tang looked at the astonishing number of pills inside and hurriedly put it away. He hesitantly said, I don't know what the current situation is. There are some problems with the Frost Cave assessment this time. They have already followed the elders of Danwu College to another Frost Cave to participate in the assessment. Ning Hai was not worried at all about Ning Xian and the others not returning. Instead, he said, with Ning Xian and the others' strength, they will probably not be chosen to enter Danwu College. Before long, they will be sent back. There can be problems with the Frost Cave assessment. Hearing this, Ning Tang was a little stunned. After being in Tianqian City for so many years, he had never heard of any problems with the Frost Cave assessment. One must know that the Frost Cave was the assessment venue set up by Danwu College. Whoever dared to disrupt the assessment in the Frost Cave was going against Danwu College. In the Da Xia Kingdom, there were not many forces that dared to openly go against Danwu College. Creak. Just as Ning Tang was in a daze, the door to the meeting hall was pushed open. A slightly thin figure appeared in the hall. Ningyu, your cultivation? Seeing the familiar figure suddenly appear in the hall, Ning Tang was first stunned, then his face revealed a shocked expression. I have already reached the late stage of the Xiantian realm. When he was in the middle stage of the Xiantian realm, Ningyu could already contend with a middle stage true martial realm martial artist. Now that he had advanced to the late stage of the Xiantian realm, his strength could probably contend with a peak middle stage true martial realm martial artist, right? Late stage of the Xiantian realm? Compared to Ning Tang's shock, Ning Hai was much better. He frowned slightly and a trace of soul force flew out from his body, quietly examining Ningyu's body. Seeing this, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. He hurriedly hid the 6 cyclones in his sea of consciousness, leaving only one ordinary cyclone floating in his sea of consciousness. That's not right. A big tub of intermittent cold jade fluid only raised my cultivation from the middle stage Xiantian realm to the late stage Xiantian realm. Frowning, Ning Hai realized that Ningyu's cultivation was only at the late stage Xiantian realm. Logically, the intermittent cold jade fluid should not only have such a small effect. Father, I feel that breaking through to the Xiantian realm full cycle in such a short time is not good for my future cultivation, so I suppressed my cultivation to the late stage Xiantian realm. Seeing Ning Hai's doubt, Ningyu explained, I have already kept the rest of the intermittent cold jade fluid. I plan to stabilize my cultivation at the late stage Xiantian realm before making a breakthrough. It's good that you have such an idea. Withdrawing his soul force, Ning Hai praised. Seeing Ning Hai withdrawing his soul force, Ningyu heaved a sigh of relief, thinking that it was a close shave. If Ning Hai had used more soul force, he would definitely have discovered the cyclone that he had hidden. Although it would not be a big problem, it would still be troublesome to explain it. Oh yes, let me help you refine the phantom armor. Not caring about Ningyu's cultivation, Ning Hai said. Father, the phantom armor has been refined by me. As he spoke, Ningyu's soul force moved, and the phantom armor appeared on the surface of his skin. What? The phantom armor has been refined by you. Seeing this, Ning Hai was very shocked. He was very clear about the difficulty of refining the phantom armor. Without the help of a warrior with a strong soul force, refining it would be as difficult as ascending to heaven for a low-level warrior. After a short moment of shock, Ning Hai regained his calmness. A moment later, he returned to his seat and said, seeing your current state, I can also leave Tianqian City with a peace of mind. Ning Tang, you both of you can leave first. Let me be alone for a while. Waving his hand, Ning Hai said indifferently, Goodbye. Yes, father. Ning Tang and Ning Yu bid farewell to Ning Hai and slowly left the meeting hall. After leaving the meeting hall, Ning Yu and Ning Tang also parted ways. Ning Tang went to deal with the family's affairs, while Ning Yu went to the Alchemy Association without stopping. Because he had promised Ju Tong that he would go to the capital to participate in the alchemy conference, he could use this time to discuss the details. Moreover, he could also take the alchemist test at the same time. After all, with the alchemist badge on him, no matter where he went, it would be good. Ning Yu had been to the Alchemy Association a few times and was already familiar with the place. After a short while, he arrived at the entrance. Young Master Ning. Chapter 134. After the familiar voice sounded, a middle-aged man quickly walked up and said respectfully, "Why didn't you tell me in advance before you came so that I could go and greet you? Liu Shan, I have arms and legs. Do I need you to receive me?" The middle-aged man was the second-tier alchemist, Liu Shan. Liu Shan's aura was restrained and his soul energy had reached the intermediate stage of the second tier. He was no longer a pseudo-second-tier alchemist, but a second-tier mid-tier alchemist. "Hey, young Master Ning, you must be joking. Please come in," Liu Shan hurriedly said. "Liu Shan, is Chairman Ju in?" After entering the Alchemy Union, Ning Yu looked around and said, "I'm here to look for him." "Young Master Ning, if you came earlier, you might have been able to meet Chairman Ju. But now, it might be a little difficult," Liu Shan said. "Oh, what difficulty is there? Could it be that Chief Ju is not in the Alchemist Association?" Ning Yu raised his eyebrows and asked calmly. "Chairman Ju is in the Union, but it's not convenient for him to meet you now." After pondering for a moment, Liu Shan explained, "Just 10 minutes ago, President Ju entered the alchemy room. I heard that Chairman Ju is going to make a fourth-tier pill, the True Martial Pill." True Martial Pill. Hearing Liu Shan's words, Ning Yu was a little surprised. 3 days ago, Ju Tong was only a third-tier pinnacle alchemist. His soul energy was still at the third-tier level. With his alchemy skills back then, it was impossible for him to make a fourth-tier True Martial Pill. Could it be that in these 3 days, Ju Tong had already become a fourth-tier alchemist? "Yes, young Master Ning. If there's nothing urgent, please wait here for a while," Liu Shan said carefully, afraid that Ning Yu would be unhappy. "All right, I'll wait here for a while." Ning Yu was not an unreasonable person. He found a chair and sat down. "When Chairman Ju comes out, let me know. I'll go see him." "Young Master Ning, the number of people participating in the alchemy assessment has increased recently. I'll go get busy," Liu Shan said. Waving his hand, Ning Yu said, "It doesn't matter. You can go back to your work." After bidding farewell to Ning Yu, Liu Shan walked into the Alchemy Union. As for Ning Yu, he was sitting on a chair with his eyes closed. He was going through everything that had happened recently in his mind. Thankfully, he had the memories of his past life, which allowed his strength to grow by leaps and bounds. Otherwise, even 10 Ning Yus would have been smashed into smithereens. Now my cultivation is at the late stage of the Xiantian realm. My comprehensive strength is enough to contend with a martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm. If I encounter that old ghost Xiao again, even if I don't use my full strength, I can still kill him. On his way back from Mingwang City, Ning Yu was being chased by 3 of the 4 big bullies. If he had not run fast enough, he would have been killed. This enmity must be avenged. Ning Yu was a very simple person. If others respected him, he would respect them tenfold. If others wanted to kill him, then regrettably, no matter where they fled to, he would hunt them down. "Hey, are you trying to act shamelessly?" "That's right, we painstakingly went to the Magic Beast mountain range to dig up the dragon's beard, and even lost the lives of 2 of our companions. Yet, you say that it is not dragon's beard? 1 dragon's beard is 10 high-grade yuan crystals. There are 1,000 of them in this storage bag, so a total of 10,000 high-grade yuan crystals. Call the person who issued the mission over. If he does not take out 10,000 high-grade yuan crystals today, he will have a good time." Just as Ning Yu closed his eyes to rest, a few noisy voices rang in the lobby of the Alchemy Union and entered his ears. Opening his eyes, Ning Yu looked around. In the lobby, 3 young men dressed in black stood in front of the counter and berated a young woman in her 20s. Surrounded by the 3 of them, the young woman almost cried out. She carefully said, "You guys, this is really not Dragon's Beard. The person who issued the task has already told me the identification method of Dragon's Beard. The Dragon's Beard that you took out turned black when you put it into the testing liquid, not red, which means, clang." One of the men in black slammed his fist on the counter and said coldly, "What do you know? Call the person who issued the mission over. I want to see if he dares to act shamelessly today." Looking at the 3 men in black, Ningyu was somewhat shocked. There was no other reason. Although the 3 men in black tried to conceal their aura, they were still detected by Ningyu's keen perception. Each of their cultivation had reached the Xiantian full cycle. 3 Xiantian full cycle. Since when did Xiantian full cycle become so worthless in Tianqian City? Please wait a moment, I will go and call the Ning family over. Lan Shi hurriedly said. Hihi, you don't need to go, wait here. The leader of the men in black glanced at Lan Shi and said with an evil smile, "Let the others go, I still have something to tell you." You guys. Lan Shi was after all only a woman in her 20s. Facing such a sudden situation, she was at a loss for a moment. In the past, when Lan Shi was in the Alchemy Union, she had never encountered such a situation because there were very few people who dared to cause trouble in the Alchemy Union. Even if there were a few troublemakers, President Ju would come forward to deal with them. Now that President Ju was in seclusion to refine pills, Lan Shi was suddenly at a loss. Why don't you talk to me about it? Originally, Ningyu did not intend to get involved in this matter, but after hearing Lan Shi's words, he had no choice but to get involved. Because the person who issued the mission was a member of the Ning family. Although Dragon's Beard was only a 3rd-grade medicinal herb, it was extremely expensive and was the main ingredient in refining most 3rd-grade medicinal pills. Now that the Ning family was in control of Tianqian City, it was understandable for them to issue similar missions. Young Master Ning. Hearing Ningyu's words, Lan Shi seemed to have found her backbone and said happily, "Young Master Ning." The leader of the men in black frowned slightly and said, "You are a member of the Ning family? Are you the one who issued this mission?" Without answering the man in black, Ningyu walked to the counter and picked up the so-called Dragon's Beard from the man in black to examine it. After a while, Ningyu threw the medicinal herb to the side and said indifferently, "What Dragon's Beard? It's just dog's tail grass." What? Ningyu's action made the man in black furious and he said fiercely, "You dare to say that this is dog's tail grass? Who do you think you are? Big brother, why are you talking nonsense with him? We accepted." The short man in black at the side said, "Third brother." Before the short man could finish his words, he was interrupted by the man in black who said coldly, "We accepted the mission issued by the Alchemy Union this time, don't talk nonsense." Heh. Frowning slightly, Ningyu seemed to have understood something from their conversation. The 3 of them were indeed not here for the Dragon's Beard mission, they should have another purpose. Chapter 135. Kid, since you're the one who issued the mission, don't waste your breath. Hurry up and hand over the 10,000 high-grade yuan crystals. We don't have time to waste with you here. The leader of the black-robed men glared fiercely at Ningyu and said, "This time, the 3 of us spent a lot of effort to dig up 1,000 Dragon's Beard grass. Therefore, you have to hand over the 10,000 high-grade yuan crystals no matter what. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude." Hehe, you want to be rude to me? The corners of Ningyu's lips curled up as he turned around and sat on a chair. He crossed his legs and said calmly, "I'd like to see how you plan to be rude to me." The 3 of them actually dared to offend Ningyu? Did they eat a bear's heart or a leopard's gall? Even Lin Jingtian died in the hands of Ningyu. Do they really think that they can defeat Ningyu? The news of Ningyu's powerful performance 3 days ago has already spread throughout profound Sky City. Could it be that they've just arrived? I've never seen the 3 of them before. I'm afraid they've just arrived at profound Sky City. Seeing the conflict between the 3 black-robed men and Ningyu, the cultivators from the Alchemy Union were slightly shocked. This was because the powerful battle strength that Ningyu had displayed 3 days ago had caused their hearts to tremble. Now, although the three black-robed men were powerful, they were still lacking compared to the patriarchs of the three great families. The whispers from the surroundings caused Chen Die's face to turn solemn. The three of them were indeed not from Profound Sky City. Their main objective for coming to Profound Sky City was to kill Ningyu and complete the bounty. He did not expect the crowd to have such a high evaluation of Ningyu. However, sensing the Xiantian realm middle stage aura from Ningyu's body, Chen Die's face turned cold and he said coldly, "Kid, in the capital, there aren't many people who dare to speak to me like this." "Oh, I mean there are still people who dare to talk to you like that." Shrugging his shoulders, Ningyu said, "If what you brought was really dragon's beard grass, I would naturally give you 10,000 pieces of origin crystals. But what you brought is dog's tail grass. I'm afraid you won't be able to get these 10,000 pieces of origin crystals. Big brother, let me try his water." Next to him, Chenna took a step forward. The aura of the consummate Xiantian realm was revealed, and it pressed down on Ningyu. In the face of such a fierce aura oppression, Ningyu acted as if nothing had happened. Not only was he not worried, but he also chatted with Lan Shi who was next to him. Damn it! Chenna secretly cursed as he clenched his teeth. Just as the Yuan Qi within his sea of consciousness was about to gush out, he heard an anxious voice being emitted. After which, he slightly withdrew his Yuan Qi. "Everyone, this is the Alchemy Union." Liu Shan was in charge of the alchemy assessment. Hearing that someone had a conflict with Ningyu, he hurriedly ran from the inner room to the lobby. When he came out, he saw three men in black surrounding Ningyu. He hurriedly said, "I'm afraid there's some misunderstanding between you and young Master Ning. It's better to make an enemy than to resolve it. If there's anything, we can sit down and have a good talk. There's nothing to talk about. In short, hand over 10,000 pieces of origin crystals, and we three brothers will leave immediately." Chen Die's attitude was firm, and he had no intention of giving in. 10,000 pieces of origin crystals, what a big appetite. Curling his lips, Ningyu teleported and snatched the storage bag from Chen Die's hand. Then, he poured out the 1,000 pieces of dog's tail grass. Crash! The 1,000 pieces of dog's tail grass fell on the ground. Instantly, the surroundings were filled with the strong smell of dog's tail. Dog's tail grass? Looking at the scattered medicinal herbs on the ground, Liu Shan was stunned. Then, he quickly said, "Young Master Ning, dog's tail grass is a first-grade medicinal herb. It's cheap." "Why?" "Damn, don't tell me they mistook the dog's tail grass for dragon's whiskers." As the second-seat alchemist of the Alchemy Union, Liu Shan naturally knew the mission issued by the Ning family. 1 stalk of dragon's whiskers for 10 pieces of origin crystals. Now that he saw the dog's tail grass on the ground, he instantly understood. Shrugging, Ningyu declined to comment. "Young man, how dare you steal my storage bag in broad daylight?" Chen Die did not expect Ningyu to be so fast. He was so fast that he did not even have time to react before his storage bag was snatched away. After a short moment of shock, Chen Die said angrily, "If you don't hand over 10,000 pieces of origin crystals, don't blame us three brothers for being rude." Noisy. Frowning slightly, Ningyu's face was a little cold. Swoosh. Just as Ningyu's voice fell, Chen Die rose from the ground. His speed skyrocketed and he instantly appeared in front of Ningyu. Then, a fist with violent origin chi violently smashed towards Ningyu's head. Seeking death. Facing Chen Die's fierce attack, Ningyu raised his right hand and grabbed Chen Die's fist. Crack. His palm exerted a little force and directly broke Chen Die's wrist. Ah! With his wrist broken, Chen Die screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Then, beads of sweat the size of beans dripped continuously from his forehead. Big brother. Chen Die's pitiful state caused Chen and Chen San's expressions to change drastically. Both of their feet touched the ground and they dashed towards Ningyu from both sides. Bang! Bang! However, before Chen and Chen San could reach Ningyu, they were hit in the chest by 2 solid palm prints. Their bodies flew out and heavily hit the door of the Alchemy Union. Poochie. Poochie. After spitting out 2 mouthfuls of blood, Chen and Chen San's breathing became slightly weak. At this time, Ning Yu stood up and walked in front of Chen Da. He said calmly, "Tell me, who ordered you to come here?" "Little brat, no one ordered us." At this point, Chen Da had no choice but to admit defeat. It was his fault for not asking around and underestimating his opponent. "Looks like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin." The corner of his mouth curled up. Then, Ning Yu changed the topic and coldly said, "Since you dare to come here and cause trouble, you should know the consequences. Liu Shan, find a room. I want to personally interrogate the three of them." "Yes, young Master Ning." Liu Shan had already witnessed Ning Yu's super strong fighting ability. Thus, he did not show any special reaction. Instead, he ordered his subordinates to bring Chen Da and his two brothers to a quiet room. Ning Yu stood up and entered the room. After Ning Yu left, the Alchemy Union's lobby finally erupted with waves of exclamations. Ning Yu is indeed powerful. Defeating the three of them was as easy as blowing off dust. Of course. In the previous Innate Realm ranking, Ning Yu was ranked 1000. After the battle 3 days ago, some people speculated that Ning Yu would be ranked 100 in the next Innate Realm ranking, almost. To be able to kill Lin Jingtian, who was in the middle stage of the true martial realm, he could even be ranked in the top 50. While the people in the lobby were busy discussing, there were only 4 people in a quiet room in the Alchemy Union. Ning Yu sat on a chair and glanced at the 3 men in black on the floor. He said calmly, "I only have 3 questions. If you can answer them honestly, I promise not to kill you." Chapter 136. First question, why do you want to go against me? Ning Yu asked directly. Without hesitation, Chen Da said, "We accepted an assassination mission in the black market. As long as we can kill you, we will be rewarded with 100,000 high-grade origin crystals." Someone issued an assassination mission? Frowning, Ning Yu continued, "Second question, who issued the assassination mission?" "Young Master Ning, we really don't know." Hearing this question, Chen Da panicked and said, "Other than the upper echelons of the black market, no one knows who issued the mission. We were just passing by Tianxian City and accepted the assassination mission in the black market. As for who issued the mission, we don't know." Ning Yu also had some understanding of the assassination missions issued in the black market. Chen Da was not lying. Other than the upper echelons of the black market, even those who accepted the mission did not know who issued the mission. Since that was the case, Ning Yu did not want to dwell on it. Instead, he asked the third question, "Do the 3 of you act alone?" Act alone? Chen Da was stunned for a moment. He did not understand what Ning Yu meant. However, as a Xiantian full-cycle cultivator, his intelligence was not low. He reacted quickly. After coming back to his senses, Chen Da said, "The 3 of us act alone. We have not joined any factions." "Good, very good." Nodding, Ning Yu said, "You don't need to go anywhere in the future. Just stay in Tianxian City." Ning. Young Master Ning, you must let us join the Ning family." Even though he had guessed what Ning Yu was thinking, hearing Ning Yu say it himself, Chen Da still found it hard to accept. He even stuttered, "Young Master Ning, the 3 of us are used to acting alone." "Now, you have 2 choices." Interrupting Chen Da's words, Ning Yu said coldly, "First, stay in Tianxian City. Second, die." The moment the word die fell, Ning Yu released his aura. The origin energy in the 2 cyclones gushed out and suppressed Chen Da and the rest. Kai. When such a powerful aura pressed down on Chen Da and the rest, it immediately caused them to be unable to breathe, while their faces turned deathly pale. "You have already reached the true martial realm." Chen Da endured the strong pressure around him and said with difficulty, "We promise you that we will stay in Tianxian City." "Humph. For now, I'll feign civility and wait for an opportunity to escape." On the surface, he agreed to Ning Yu's request. However, Chen Da snorted coldly in his heart. "What you did to the 3 of us today, we will make you pay back double." How could Ning Yu not know what Chen Da was thinking in his heart? However, he did not expose him. Instead, he said indifferently, "Even though you promised to stay in Profound Sky City, I don't really trust you." After pondering for a moment, Ningyu said, "How about this? Relax your minds. No matter what happens later, don't resist." Relax my mind. Chen Die's mouth was slightly agape. He did not know what Ningyu was planning to do. However, in order to survive, he could only do as he was told. Beside him, Chen and Chen San followed their elder brother and relaxed their minds. Shio, shio, shio. In the next moment, 3 wisps of soul force shot out from Ningyu's body at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, they drilled into the minds of Chen Die and the other 2 and hid in their consciousness seas. You actually placed your soul force in our consciousness seas. Feeling the additional wisps of soul force in their consciousness seas, Chen Die exclaimed, "You want to control our life and death? I am not interested in your life and death." Shrugging his shoulders, Ningyu said, "As long as you stay in Tianxian City obediently for 1 or 2 years, I will naturally take back my soul force. In these 2 years, I will not restrict your actions, but I have a request." Staring sharply at Chen Die and the others, Ningyu said in a deep voice, "As long as the Ning family is in trouble, you must help them unconditionally." Ningyu was very clear that once Ning Hai left Tianxian City and went to the capital, some Tom, Dick, and Harry would definitely jump out. Although the Ning family had completely controlled Tianxian City, they had also offended a lot of people. In case of an expert attacking the Ning family, Ning Tang and Ning, he would definitely not be able to resist them. At this time, if Chen Die and the other 2 brothers helped the Ning family, the situation would definitely be reversed. After all, Chen Die and the other 2 brothers were not weak. Each of them was at the peak of the innate realm. If they joined forces, they could compete with a martial artist at the early stage of the real martial realm. Of course, as long as you are obedient, 1 year later, I promise to give each of you a true martial elixir to help you advance to the real martial realm. Ningyu knew that Chen Die and the others could only be subdued by a combination of carrot and stick. Is that true? Sure enough, as soon as Ningyu's voice fell, Chen Die and the other 2 opened their eyes wide and exclaimed, "As long as you give us 3 true martial elixirs, let alone 2 years, even if it's 3 years, we are willing." Although the true martial elixir was only a 4th grade elixir, it was no less precious than a 5th grade elixir. Because the main ingredient needed to refine the true martial elixir was controlled by some aristocratic families, the price of the true martial elixir remained high, even more expensive than ordinary 5th grade elixirs. Remember what you said. 1 year later, go to the capital to find me. At that time, I will naturally give each of you a true martial elixir. After saying that, Ningyu got up and left the room, leaving Chen Die and the other 2 brothers, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Ningyu didn't care about Chen Die and the other 2 at all. After coming out of the room, he directly went to find Liu Shan. "I'll go back first. When Chairman Zhu comes out, you can go to the Ning family to find me." Ningyu didn't want to stay here for too long and wanted to go back to the Ning family. Bang! However, as soon as he finished speaking, before he moved, a clear sound rang, and then a low curse came from the alchemy room. Damn it, just a little bit more." Then, Zhu Tong walked out of the alchemy room with a gloomy face. You could vaguely hear him mumbling something. "Chairman Zhu, it seems like you ran into some problems while refining the true martial elixir," Ningyu stopped and said. Zhu Tong looked up at Ningyu and sighed, "Just a little bit more. If I wasn't too impatient at the last moment, I might have made the true martial elixir. Chairman Zhu, I am also quite interested in the true martial elixir. Can I take a look at the leftovers from your pill?" Ningyu asked calmly. "You want to take a look?" Hearing this, Zhu Tong was startled at first, then he said, "All right, it's in the alchemy room. Go take a look yourself. I need to rest for a bit. I will try to make the next batch of true martial elixir later. I don't believe I can't make it today. Thank you, Chairman Zhu." After thanking Zhu Tong, Ningyu walked into the alchemy room. As for Zhu Tong, he went to another room to take a break and prepare to make the second batch of true martial elixir. The leftovers are a little black. Chapter 137. It's not that I was too impatient when I was forming the pill, but that there was a problem with the ingredients. The true martial pill had strict requirements for the ingredients. A slight mistake would lead to the final failure of the pill. Ningyu knew that if Ju Tong followed the ingredients, it was basically impossible to refine the true martial pill. Blowing off the residue on his hand, Ningyu slowly left the alchemy room. Young Master Ning. Liu Shan had been guarding outside the alchemy room. When Ningyu came out, he quickly greeted him and said, "Please take a rest inside." "No need," Ningyu said, "I'll wait here." "You can go back to work first." "Then please wait." After bidding farewell to Ningyu, Liu Shan went to preside over the alchemy exam. As for Ningyu, he stood at the door of the alchemy room, recalling the refining method of the true martial pill in his mind. Although Ningyu had refined the true martial pill in his previous life, ever since he became a 6th-grade alchemist, he had never refined the true martial pill again. And there were too many details to pay attention to in refining the true martial pill. Even with the memory of his previous life, Ningyu dared not say that he could successfully refine the true martial pill now. Now that his cultivation had reached the late stage of pre-celestial and was not far from the true martial realm, it was very necessary to prepare a true martial pill. Rustle. Not long after, Ju Tong came to the door of the alchemy room with a face full of joy. Seeing Ju Tong, Ningyu was slightly startled and asked doubtfully, "Chairman Ju, you've rested so quickly?" Refining the true martial pill consumed a lot of energy. Ningyu did not believe that Ju Tong could adjust his mental state to the best in such a short time. If his mental state was poor, then the second batch of true martial pill was destined to fail. "Ningyu, I've thought about it carefully. The reason why I failed to refine the true martial pill was completely because of a small problem." Ju Tong was even a little excited as he said, "I want to strike while the iron is hot and refine a second batch of true martial pills." After pondering for a while, Ningyu said, "Chairman Ju, I have a presumptuous request. When you are refining the true martial pellet, can I watch from the side?" "You want to observe?" Slightly startled, Ju Tong looked at Ningyu with some astonishment before nodding his head and saying, "That's fine too. This time, you will be representing Xian Sky City's Alchemy Union at the capital to participate in the competition. I don't have much I can help you with, so I'll let you observe and learn some experience." In Ju Tong's view, even though Ningyu's martial Dao strength was very strong, his alchemy standards were definitely not as high as his. Ju Tong believed that Ningyu's alchemy level should be between peak 2nd grade to 3rd grade, or even some distance away from a 3rd-grade alchemist. "Thank you, Chairman Ju." Ningyu cupped his fists. "Hee, don't call me Chairman Ju in the future. It sounds so distant. Just call me Elder Ju." Ju Tong laughed. "Thank you, Elder Ju." Ningyu once again said, "Come in with me. When I am refining, try not to speak." As he spoke, Ju Tong entered the alchemy room first, while Ningyu followed behind him. Closing the door, Ju Tong took out all the medicinal ingredients he needed from his storage pouch. With a flick of his wrist, a small alchemy cauldron appeared in his hand. Ju Tong was not in a hurry to refine the pellet. Instead, he sorted out the medicinal ingredients. Then, with a flick of his wrist, he tossed the small alchemy cauldron into the air. Hiss! Ju Tong's right hand suddenly pointed forward. Instantly, a purple flame danced on his fingertip, continuously burning the bottom of the cauldron. Purple flame. Seeing the purple flame dancing on Ju Tong's fingertip, Ningyu's expression turned serious and he couldn't help but exclaim. Purple flame was a type of natural fire. Even though it couldn't compare to the wind thunder fire, it was still pretty good for refining pellets. Crackle. In the next moment, Ju Tong orderly placed the medicinal ingredients into the cauldron. Then, he controlled the heat, sometimes increasing it, sometimes decreasing it. As the medicinal ingredients continued to be added, the cauldron began to make crackling sounds. This kind of noise didn't affect Ju Tong at all. He was completely immersed in refining the pellet, completely forgetting about everything around him. "I've almost entered a state where I forget myself. This kind of state is extremely rare." Ju Tong was basically in a very ethereal state right now. The success rate of refining pellets had at least doubled. In other words, the pellets that he normally couldn't successfully refine could very well be refined in this state. Soon. I wonder if Ju Tong will be able to adjust the ratio of the musk flowers in this state. The reason why Ju Tong failed to refine the true martial pellet last time was because there was a problem with the ratio of the musk flowers. If he failed again this time, it was very likely that all his previous efforts would go to waste and he would once again fail to refine the true martial pellet. If he failed to refine the true martial pellet twice with full confidence, it would definitely be a huge blow to Ju Tong. He might even be unable to recover from this setback. Let's wait and see. If the ratio is too different, I need to remind him. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu's expression was somewhat solemn. Actually, unless it was absolutely necessary, Ningyu didn't want to break Ju Tong's ethereal state. After all, being able to enter this kind of state was of great help to raising his level of refining pellets. Swoosh! At this moment, Ju Tong's left hand grabbed a few musk flowers and threw them towards the cauldron. 5 musk flowers. Too many. Seeing the musk flowers in Ju Tong's hand, Ningyu's eyes narrowed and he wanted to remind him. However, Ju Tong's left hand stopped above the cauldron. After some thought, he threw away 2 of the musk flowers and threw the remaining 3 into the cauldron. Phew! Seeing this, Ningyu let out a long sigh and said, "Good, 3 musk flowers. Although it's half an extra, as long as he can maintain the ethereal state, forming the pellet shouldn't be a problem." Ju Tong's current state was extremely good. After throwing the musk flowers into the cauldron, he immediately increased the speed of refining. Crack crack. The purple flame on his fingertip suddenly increased and the cauldron also crackled from the heat. It should be almost done. Ningyu murmured. Ju Tong's face was also full of excitement. Once he successfully refined the true martial pellet, it meant that he had successfully advanced to a 4th-level alchemist. Poochie. However, the moment the pellet was formed, Ju Tong suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned deathly pale. Then, his vision darkened and his body fell backwards. Not good. The sudden change caused Ningyu's expression to change greatly, and he hurriedly dashed out like an arrow and hugged Ju Tong. At this critical moment, Ju Tong actually came out of the ethereal state. Because he didn't control the switching between the 2 states well, he lost consciousness. Wind thunder fire. Placing Ju Tong on the ground, the wind thunder fire in Ningyu's sea of consciousness surged out and supported the cauldron under the cauldron. Damn it! The extra half an extra petal from the musk flowers has a problem now. Ningyu couldn't help but curse. The wind thunder fire was of a higher level than the purple flame. His alchemy experience was richer than Ju Tong's and his soul force wasn't bad either. Originally, he thought that with a little help at the final stage of forming the pellet, he would successfully refine the true martial pellet. Chapter 138. I have to force the extra half petal out. After a short moment of panic, Ningyu regained his composure. The wind, thunder, and fire in his sea of consciousness poured out, burning crazily at the bottom of the cauldron. At the same time, Ningyu's mind moved, and the yuan qi in the 6 cyclones burst out, all gathering at the bottom of the cauldron. Sizzle. The sizzling sound of the yuan qi burning was heard in the cauldron. Ningyu didn't have time to enjoy the beautiful music. He displayed his 4th-grade soul power, and paid close attention to the situation inside the cauldron. Ningyu knew that he was not in the ethereal state right now, so he had to be extremely careful. He could not make the slightest mistake, or else this cauldron of true martial Dan would not be successful. Hiss. As time went on, the extra half petal in the cauldron gradually moved from the bottom of the cauldron to the top. Come out. With a low growl, Ningyu patted the cauldron, and suddenly a drop of black liquid flew out. Boom. Ningyu flicked his finger, and a wave of yuan qi rushed out, dispersing the black liquid. Done. In the next second, Ningyu threw the cauldron into the air, and then controlled the lid with his soul power. Then, a slightly black round Dan flew out from the cauldron. Pa. The moment he saw the Dan, Ningyu's eyes focused, and he grabbed it in his hand. It's a high-grade true martial Dan. Looking at the Dan in his hand, Ningyu was a little shocked, and felt that it was unbelievable. Originally, Ningyu thought that even if he could make a true martial Dan, it would most likely be a low-grade true martial Dan. After all, he was in danger, and he was not in the ethereal state. Who would have thought that he would make a high-grade true Martial Dan? After a short moment of shock, Ningyu looked at Ju Tong, who was still unconscious, and mumbled, "Chairman Ju should be waking up soon." After some thought, Ningyu put the true Martial Dan in the cauldron, and then pretended to be unconscious. Ouch! About a quarter of an hour later, Ju Tong opened his eyes and rubbed his slightly aching head. "I remember I fell asleep the moment the true Martial Dan was formed." That's right. True Martial Dan. Just as he opened his eyes, before Ju Tong could think too much, his expression changed greatly. He hurriedly stood up from the ground and grabbed the pill furnace in his hand. Top grade true Martial Dan. Opening the lid and seeing the black pill lying inside, Ju Tong's jaw dropped. The shock on his face was no less than Ningyu's. Did I refine a high-grade true Martial Dan? He tried his best to recall what had happened before he fainted, but regrettably, Ju Tong only remembered that he had fainted when he was about to form the pill. He had no idea what had happened after that. Right, Ningyu. Seeing Ningyu lying on the ground, Ju Tong hurriedly woke him up. Elder Ju, why am I sleeping here? Waking up from his coma, Ningyu first shook his head. Then, seeing the true Martial Dan in Ju Tong's hand, he exclaimed, "Elder Ju, you refined a high-grade true Martial Dan." "Elder Ju, don't look at me. The moment the pill was formed, I suddenly felt my head sink and I fainted." Seeing Ju Tong's confused expression, Ningyu's face was a little disappointed. "What a pity that I couldn't see the moment the pill was formed." "All right." Hearing this, Ju Tong sighed and put the true Martial Dan back into the jade bottle. He then said, "Ningyu, go back and get ready. We'll leave for the capital tomorrow morning." "All right, I'll go back and get ready. We'll meet at the city gate tomorrow morning." Nodding, Ningyu said goodbye to Ju Tong and left the Alchemy Union. Looking at Ningyu's back, Ju Tong's mind became more and more confused. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. There was only him and Ningyu in the alchemy room. Since he couldn't remember the process of forming the Dan, then there was a high chance that Ningyu remembered. Furthermore, a bold idea arose in his mind. The high-grade true Martial Dan in the jade bottle was refined by Ningyu. While Ju Tong was doubting it, Ningyu had already returned to the Ning family. Inside the room, Ningyu took out a few high-grade essence crystals, activated the spirit transformation art, and began cultivating. The path of cultivation was like rowing a boat against the current. If you don't move forward, you'll fall behind. The quality of this body was much worse than in his previous life. Ningyu had to put in a lot more effort to reach the height of his previous life. Swoosh. In the evening, when Ningyu was cultivating, a black figure suddenly appeared beside him. Who? The sudden appearance of the figure caused Ningyu to stand up instantly. Holding the soul-breaking sword horizontally in his hand, he shouted coldly, "What do you want?" At this moment, Ningyu gripped the soul-breaking sword tightly and the essence chi in his sea of consciousness began to churn. As long as the figure in front of him dared to move, he would strike first. "Hehe, your reaction is somewhat out of my expectations." The martial artist in black smiled and said, "Father." Hearing this, Ningyu opened his mouth and quickly kept the soul-breaking sword. "Why are you here?" Walking to the chair and sitting down, Ninghai said, "I originally planned to leave tomorrow morning, but now I've changed my mind. I'll leave tonight. Before I leave, there's something I need to tell you." With a slightly solemn expression, Ninghai said in a deep voice, "Tomorrow, you'll be heading to the capital with Ju Tong. I hope that you can enter Danwu College to cultivate." "Father, you want me to enter Danwu College?" Ningyu asked doubtfully, "But I've already missed the ice cave assessment." "I'm afraid it'll be difficult for me to enter Danwu College. You don't have to worry about this." Waving his hand, Ninghai flicked his sleeve and suddenly a semicircular blue pendant appeared in his hand. "When the time comes, give this pendant to an old man named Wu Xie from Danwu College. He will help you." Wu Xie. Frowning slightly, Ningyu seemed to have a slight impression of this name, but he could not grasp it. Swoosh. At this moment, Ninghai's figure flashed and he left the room. "Remember, before you see Wu Xie, Remember not to let anyone see this pendant. Although Ning Yu had left the room, Ning Hai's voice still echoed in his ears. Blue pendant. Taking a deep breath, Ning Yu released his soul power and wanted to enter the pendant. Kai. However, as soon as his soul power entered the pendant, it was devoured. Devouring pendant. His eyes narrowed. Ning Yu was shocked. He did not expect the semicircular pendant in his hand to be the devouring pendant. Forget it, I better make some preparations. I still have to go to the capital with Elder Ju tomorrow. Shaking his head, Ning Yu kept the pendant in his storage ring. The next morning, when the first ray of sunlight rose, Ning Yu bid farewell to Ning Tang and rushed towards the city gates of Tianxian City. Not long later, Ning Yu arrived at the city gates of Tianxian City. Elder Ju, sorry to have kept you waiting. Seeing Ju Tong, Ning Yu was a little embarrassed. He did not expect him to arrive so early. My apologies. Hehe, Ning Yu, I just arrived as well. Ju Tong smiled and said, I can't set off now. There's another person coming. There's another person? Ning Yu was taken aback and asked, Elder Ju, is there someone else participating in the alchemy conference? Voila. At this moment, the void in the sky trembled and countless air currents gathered at one spot. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.